Happy St. Patty's Day, folks. How you doing? Just a couple of the good old boys here. We're gonna gonna be talking about a couple of my favorite cult films, and to join me, my friend Griff. What are we talking about?
We are talking about Boondock Saints 1 and 2.
Aye, indeed.
I
Uh,
can't do an Irish accent. I'm not gonna try.
are you implying that I can? Are you listening?
Well, at least you're trying. I was like, there's no way I would be able to pull that off. I was like, I'm
No.
not even gonna.
But yes, Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. We're doing a special highlight with two of our favorite films of all time. Well, at least one of them. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But Uh, we've been wanting to do this for a while. Whenever Griff and I started filming that 3 years ago, Griff, can you believe it? When we did the Batman review,
Yeah.
that was 3 years ago. It was in that March of that year. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
like, we were constantly making jokes, constantly referencing Boondock Saints lines, and we're like, and that just became a joke on my channel. Like, whenever we did a video and we'd make a Boondock Saints reference, I'm
Right.
like, when are we talking about Boondock
Yeah.
Saints?
Every once in a while, we'd be watching something and we would be able to sneak in like a quote that was absolutely perfect
Hmm.
and great timing. And now we're finally here.
Yeah, and as you may have noticed, I'm going to be a little bit sauced this time, but it's St. Patrick's Day, so I thought this is if I'm going to do a video where I drink a little bit, this one's pretty appropriate, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a part of the whole part of the movies and everything. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of smoking, a lot of cussing. You know,
Yeah.
it's just they're just those kind of movies. So
We're all Irish tonight.
exactly, yes. So yeah, I didn't really come up with an intro for this one because I'm like, I don't fucking know what we're doing. So.
Hey, you know what? It's hard to get a perfect intro. I've tried so many intros on my own podcast. It's
Hmm.
like I've rewrote I've rewrote it too many times.
Hmm. Yeah. So, see, that's the fun you get with me today. I also have water, so just
There you
remember,
go.
remember,
You got some balance.
remember, if you're partying on St. Patrick's Day, make sure to stay hydrated because it won't end well, especially not if you're trying to record something.
Right.
But yeah, so we're talking about Boondock Saints 1 and 2 today. We'll start off with the first one. Griff, how long ago was it that you saw the Boondock Saints? Like what age were you think?
Oh gosh. See, I want to say I was probably I think first time I saw it, I had been about like 12. My sister's boyfriend came over, and like me and my dad and my sister and him, he brought pizza over, and this was like the second time I met this guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he would always bring over like if it wasn't a new Xbox game I hadn't heard of or some really good movies, and that was one of the first movies he brought up was Boondock Saints.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling us about it, and I had never ever heard of Boondock Saints, so I was pretty young. So yeah, it was like probably 12.
Okay.
That's like a rough guess. Yeah.
So that was like 04-ish, you think? Were you born 92?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I was. Well, this is one of the many films that Griff introduced me to in high school. You know,
Yeah.
we covered From Dusk Till Dawn. Now this is like the next
Yeah.
one, the next movie that you
Hmm.
showed me that we got to share an experience with, and boy, it is an experience.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I totally forgot that I introduced this movie to you. I guess I don't
Yeah.
remember that, but I have a lot of useless knowledge in my head, so I forget a lot of things.
Yeah.
Mainly just movie quotes is what's stuffed in my head.
Yeah, yeah. So like you showed it to me, and then I spread it like wildfire among our group. So
Yeah, right,
it was
yeah.
it was
Yeah,
fun.
the boys,
It was
yeah.
fun. But that's why I wanted to bring you on for this one. We're finally doing it. Finally doing it after
Yeah.
3 years of referencing it. So you were about 12 when you saw it, and
Yeah.
I was in high school, maybe 15, 16, sometime
Hmm.
around then, which is about the perfect time to watch this movie
Yeah.
because it's got all the stuff that we the teenagers like, all the swearing, all the I don't give a fuck, like
right?
type attitude with everything, and
There's like one boob in there. Gets to see like one boob. Yeah, or is it two? Like, well, I
I
don't
think
know, one.
I think you see both.
Yeah, maybe two.
I'm
Yeah.
not showing that YouTube.
Right? Oh, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, so it is like everything guys like.
Yeah.
It's like a boys month type thing where it's like yeah,
Yeah.
totally a guys night set
Yeah.
of movies. And I have to say I've seen a lot of movies where there's like where Catholicism is like a thing, but I think this is probably the most Catholic movie.
Yeah.
Like this, everything's about the brothers and their faith and like how their
Yeah.
morals and everything.
I do have an interesting question to ask you when we get to like the morals part. I don't know if you've got an area for that, but I've got a really good question I want to ask you. When I could ask you now, but I don't. I want to wait till you start asking questions.
well, I mean, I'm kind of just going over like certain things about the movie,
Okay.
some of the actors, some of like the
Yeah.
way the plot is done and stuff like that. So if you want to ask the question now, and then maybe I can think about it and answer in a few
Okay.
minutes if I
Okay.
have time to
I'll
think
ask.
about it.
I'll ask you now. So, do you think that the two brothers actually? Do you actually felt like that they were on a mission from God?
Hmm. That is the fun question with the movie,
Yeah.
the ambiguity, the moral ambiguity. Like if we don't know a whole lot about their backstory,
Yeah.
we get that they go to church. I mean, it's literally in the first scene
Yeah.
where they're in the Catholic mass, so you get that they're religious,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's something I always wonder. Like when people say
Yeah.
that they hear something from God directly to them, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'll 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 give you the benefit of the doubt there
Yes.
that you're not making it up.
Yeah. I now they're. I feel like they actually are. And then of course, this is a movie that this is like in the confines of a movie, but like I believe that they are. And I feel like the reason why they are because they have came out on top on so many weird moments in this while they were killing
Mm-hmm.
people that were considered bad.
Yeah.
And go ahead, I'm just gonna go
No.
ahead and say a spoiler. Like when Rocco dies, there's the
Yeah.
whole fan theory that was the reason why he died because he wasn't really part of the brother. Like he was their friend, but I don't believe that he was actually like part of like the mission
Mm-hmm.
from God. I think maybe he was kind of there to maybe help him, but not the mission, and that was why he died instead of the two brothers
Yeah.
in that scene. Now,
And
of course, that's just fan theory. I don't like.
yeah.
I think it's completely believable and interesting.
Yeah, he was always kind of wishy-washy with the mission because
Yeah.
he's the guy he's kind of like an audience surrogate where
Yeah. Yeah.
he's like, are we sure this is the right thing we're doing? Like,
Yeah.
are we? But
Anybody that you think is
yeah, don't you
bad.
think that's a little weird, a
A
little
little
psycho?
psycho. Yeah, yeah. For sorry, psychos. For Rocco to just be a side character, he is somebody that you can enjoy so much, and
Hmm.
it's rare in cinema. Is there like a side character I can actually enjoy seeing on screen?
Hmm.
And Rocco is he's just one of those guys that just he kills me every time. And for them to like somehow fit him in the second one, even though he's like not the main part of it, he just kind of
Yeah, spoilers if you haven't seen the second one. Spoilers for both films. We're gonna
yeah.
talk like as in depth as we want about both of them.
Yeah,
So
he like narrates it. Like I thought that was kind of like a neat idea. Like I wasn't
yeah.
against that. I was like, well, I don't see the point of bringing him back, but to have him narrate and kind of
Hmm.
like the way that they did, I liked it. I wasn't really against it because he wasn't in the movie, but like kind of was. It was kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Like I like the way they did it.
Yeah, on the thought of like narration, both films have little bits of narration that they put in important moments.
Yeah.
Like in the first one, it's Billy Connolly doing the voiceover,
Oh right, yeah, yeah,
where you don't realize that this is actually a character in the movie that is playing this part,
yeah,
and it's because whenever you hear it, it's like the voice of God, kind of like telling the story.
yeah,
And Billy Connolly does a great choice to play that kind of character, where he's
yeah,
this old, wise, grizzled man that telling you
Yeah, he's like
like that.
amazing in pretty much
Yeah,
everything he does.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Really underrated actor.
Yeah.
I did realize I did hear recently that he's struggling with ALS, so I just want to give him prayers, him and his family, because
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah,
That's a terrible thing to deal with.
yeah.
He is also a senior citizen, but
Yeah, he is old. Yeah, he was old in
yeah,
Boondock Saints.
yeah.
So,
So,
yeah.
but nobody should deal with
Yeah.
ALS. That's all I'm saying. It
Yeah.
just yeah. But yeah, we're kind of scattershot in this, like normal. We barely plan these things out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will say it is funny. I always thought it was funny about Rocco is when I looked up the actor who played Rocco as David Della Rocco, and then his character name is David Della Rocco.
Yeah.
And it
It's
goes,
like the director was like, "How about we use your name in the movie?" And, sure, whatever.
yeah. So it's David Della Rocco playing himself, technically. I
Yeah.
guess you could say, like just a fictionalized, over the top version.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think it's cool that this movie features a lot of actors that were up and coming at the time,
Oh
like
yeah.
in the '90s, with Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus as the twins, as the
Yeah.
McManus brothers. That those are some of the first things that they did as actors,
Yeah.
and then you got legends like Billy Connolly and Willem Dafoe. Spoiler: Willem Dafoe's in the movie too.
Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe.
We haven't even got to him
Yeah, I
yet.
can't wait to get into Willem Dafoe. He's so amazing in this.
Yeah, and this I like that they didn't go for like all like high profile actors. A lot of these actors hadn't really done much
Yeah.
before Boondock Saints, but they just had a couple of high profile actors in
Yeah,
there.
I feel like it's almost considered a B-rated movie, but it's really good.
Hmm.
So it's interesting that like I'd consider it like kind of above a B-rated movie because
Yeah,
like it was low budget,
yeah.
but
I
it
didn't.
was done really well for low budget.
Yeah, I didn't realize this until today when I was listening to the director Troy Duffy talk about certain things about the first film. He made the first and the second film for less than $8 million each,
Yeah.
and like it's like above micro budget. Like it's not like a $1 million movie, but it's not like it's not a movie that would really get made like nowadays. Because
Yeah.
now it's like $200 million movie or like no budget at
See,
all.
I don't
It's like
understand like what's considered high budget and low budget, because
mhm.
like when they start talking about numbers, I was like, man, I feel like I could direct a good movie like with that much money. So it makes me wonder if like does that budget? I wonder if that does that fall under like what they pay the actors too?
As actors, VFX artists, writers,
Okay, I was gonna
directors,
say because I never
editors,
understand.
like it's a bunch of different
Yeah,
things.
the
But
like how it works. I've never
yeah,
looked into it either. I just accepted it. I was like, yeah, whatever.
yeah. But that's something that I kind of miss with
Yeah.
with Hollywood is first of all independent movie. Like
Oh yeah.
he went through hell making this movie, the first movie in the '90s, because he was doing so many things. He was kind of doing that on the side,
Yeah.
and he had trouble with producers getting funding, getting someone to distribute it, and like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like a perfect storm of like everything bad that could happen to a first
Yeah.
time director kind of happened to him making this one, because whenever by '99 was when it was going to be released. A little thing called Columbine happened about two guys in black going and shooting a bunch of people at a college, or a school.
Yeah.
It's like that's kind of like cosmic bad luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's like I understand what the studios were thinking. We're like, this is really bad. We can't do this right now
Yeah.
because of everything that just happened. But I was like, but that's also like they didn't market it very well. They didn't give it any support really. They just kind of just dumped it.
Yeah, because I had never heard of this movie. So
Yeah.
when this guy brought it over, I was like, I've never heard of that. Which I mean, like then, like YouTube really wasn't. Well, I
YouTube.
guess YouTube was a thing, but
Well,
like
YouTube didn't come out till '05, so
oh,
I
05?
think it was before.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, like now you can just jump on YouTube and you can just be like new trailers and you can figure out like what's coming out now. Like hell, half the
Mhm.
time I don't even watch movies anymore to see what's coming out.
Mhm.
I just go to YouTube. So it's kind of
Mhm.
funny now that we just see trailers now through YouTube. So like I had never seen a trailer to
Mhm.
Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
when I was a kid, because well, I didn't go to the movie theater a lot, but it was every once in a while could you catch like a movie that you bought that had like 4 trailers on it
Mm-hmm.
before, so you knew what was coming out. It was definitely different time.
Yeah.
Different time.
Yeah.
Got them things called VHS boxes and things.
I believe they're a type of cassette tape.
Yeah. Right.
If
Yeah.
my info is correct.
Yeah. It would have
Yeah.
been nice to come across. Is there a VHS version of Boondock Saints?
I think there has to be because like the VHSs, like when they really phased them out was like '06.
Really? Was it
Yeah.
that long?
Yeah, because
Damn.
like one of the
I thought it was
last
sooner than that.
I mean, I guess maybe it would have been maybe '07
Yeah.
because the last movie that like they've mass produced on VHS was that movie Aragon.
Oh shit.
But anyway, we brought up Aragon, so that's all I need to say about that movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, whoa. We're gonna need some extra hours to talk about that. Yeah, I'm gonna be dropping the F bomb constantly for that one. Fucking motherfuckers. Anyway.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like with the this is a very hard R-rated movie. Like
Yeah.
the like even if you took the violence and the little titty action, you see in the movie, it would still be it would still be rated R just for the language.
Yeah.
Like
So do you think sorry to interrupt you. Um do you think Troy Duffy had problems with getting this out because it was very vigilante, you think, at the time? There wasn't a lot
well,
of vigilante stuff coming out then.
well, I mean they're
Because that idea.
not vigilantism specifically, but
Yeah.
like there was a lot of movies in the '90s that like had that kind of violence in it.
Right, okay, yeah.
Just not like the motive was different.
Okay.
It's like Pulp Fiction. They're two hitmen
True, yeah, okay,
going around
yeah.
killing people, and then
Yeah.
there's Leon, professional guy that goes around an assassin, goes around killing
Yeah.
people. So it's like those kind of movies,
Yeah.
but it was different because it was like a Catholic morality thing
Okay.
too in there
Okay.
with it. So it kind of muddies the waters for your morality, like when you watch
Yeah.
it, because you kind of don't know where you stand exactly. Well, if you watch it the first time, you're like, well, yeah, the Saints are right. Like this,
Yeah.
like because that's how the movie presents it. Is that it's from their point of view mostly.
Yeah. Damn right,
That
I believe Capital Punishment.
okay, that I gotta mention the end credits
Yeah.
of the first movie is one of the funniest things I've
Yeah.
ever seen because it's just like on the street interviews with people that there's very little known about how they shot this exactly
Yeah.
because they're all uncredited, all the people. They're just just people helping make the movie basically.
Yeah.
We don't know like what they knew about the movie, if they had seen the movie, or maybe they just told them what the plot was,
Hmm.
or like maybe they told them like Yakovetta's public execution, like they told them what happened, and then they just reacted to that like people would.
Yeah.
But it's like you see the range of reactions that people would have if
Yeah.
something like this happened in real life, and that's really interesting that it shows that some people are all for what the Saints are doing, like
Yeah.
and then some people are like just so against it because
Yeah.
it's just like because it is kind of a fucked up thing for someone to do to just
Yeah.
walk in and publicly execute somebody like that. But I just yeah
Yeah.
I like that because it's not like even though the movie itself is like saying that basically the Saints are right even though their measures are extreme, the that kind of counterbalances it a little bit. So you hear at least two sides of the issue where it's
Yeah.
like yeah, and just looking at it whenever it came out, 1999, obviously the terrible thing Columbine happened, but that was before this. The same about this for a second. That was pre 9/11 America.
Yeah.
Like after 9/11 and stuff like that happened, that like attitudes completely changed about things,
Yeah.
and this 9/11. I mean, that was a religiously motivated attack, like that.
Yeah.
And then to I'm just gonna list all of America's baggage, the
Yeah.
last 25 years that Boston Marathon,
Yeah.
all that, and now the stuff within the Middle East, and now we're involved in that. It just there's a lot of religious, motivated things going on
Mm.
that it's a very interesting thing to think about, where it's like it's a time capsule before all that shit happened.
Yeah.
Like if they, because some people think like if they released it a few years later that maybe the movie would have done better, and I'm like, I don't know about that
I think it
because
came out right at the right time.
yeah, because like you couldn't, I don't think you could, I don't think people would respond to it that positively post 9/11 like
Yeah.
that, because our attitudes had changed so drastically because of that. And just we, now we're seeing this kind of stuff all, like everywhere, because the media was exploding, and now it's all in your face, and
Yeah.
it's just gotten worse over those 20 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that's really interesting to look at, because and then the second one, they even mentioned 9/11 because of the like the heightened security of everything
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
that. And I was like, well, at least they acknowledged that, like that, they at least acknowledge it in the timeline, because
Yeah.
that was a big fucking deal when it happened. That
Yeah.
it's still, we're still feeling repercussions from it. So it,
Yeah.
and yeah, I was just like, and when the Boston Marathon happened, I remember that, I was still waiting on that third Boondock Saints movie, and spoilers, we're still waiting on it.
Yeah.
uh, I was looking at, and Troy Duffy was saying stuff about like that when that happened, it kind of like shook him, and where he, because he's from Boston, like this is a
Yeah.
very Boston movie.
Yeah.
And if any of my fans, any of my watchers are Bostonians, let me know and just tell me like what does this mean to you, because it's like this is your backyard basically where this kind of stuff happens. So like just sound off in the comments or wherever you find this. Just let me know what you think about this. Cause I always like to hear like what locals think of
Yeah.
something that was shot in their area. But I just that shook Troy Duffy into like getting really active, trying to like make the next projects that he was working on. Because he doesn't just do Boondock Saints. He's doing a lot of stuff on the side always.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was like that really struck him because he was a Bostonian.
Yeah.
That I just wanted to mention that. I thought that the fact that that happened, and then the themes of the movies, and I understand why it affected him so much.
Yeah.
That it. But anyways, let's not let's get away from the American trauma of it all and
Yeah.
just talk about the movie, because we're trying to have a good time here.
Yeah.
St. Patty's Day, we're drinking alcohol and trying to have fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is. I know one. Well, I'll wait till the questions. I'll wait till that part. But I want to mention something that I think is funny. The whole the brothers being like having a mission from God
Mhm.
as their point in the story, and the way they dress with the shades and everything. I'm like, is this basically Vigilante Blues Brothers?
Yeah.
I was just like, that was a weird realization. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, like they're like obviously what they're doing is different, but when you look at the aesthetics and like the plot of the movies, like oh, that's interesting that they're kind
I
of.
didn't see any any relation, but that's okay. I didn't see it.
But I don't even know if it was intentional or anything.
Yeah.
Because Troy Duffy does he does borrow a lot of ideas from other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I feel like every director gets inspiration from other directors for sure. I believe they
and
all do.
yeah, just because you can tell like Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, and a bunch of other guys from the
Yeah.
'90s were all kind of feeling like similar things when they were making their movies. And I also want to throw in like Kevin Smith and the Coen brothers, like their stuff. It's all kind of a similar tone.
Mm.
Like Kevin Smith, kind of the scene where they're in the apartment where they're drinking and eating pizza and just fucking around for like 6 hours. That reminded me so much of a Kevin Smith movie,
Yeah.
like just the where it's just a dialogue scene of them screwing around like real people would.
Yeah. And
Then
Kevin Smith. Now, is that the guy that was in the. Remind me who Kevin Smith is.
he's a guy who did like Chasing Amy and a bunch of he's done some really weird movies lately. Like he did Tusk and some other, but he's done a wide variety of things.
Is
He
that the
did
guy that normally wears a backwards hat and he's got a beard?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to think. Wasn't he in that silent
Jay
James?
and Silent Bob. Yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah. That's who I thought you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like clerks and
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
that stuff. Like
Yeah. That's who I thought you
this.
were talking about, but I wasn't for sure exactly who Kevin Smith was. I was like, I think I know who you're talking about, but I wasn't for sure.
I mean, and I don't know much about Kevin Smith personally. I've just seen some things here and there that he's
Oh
done,
yeah.
and I'm aware of him as like a personality, because
Yeah.
he hosts things, he has TV shows occasionally
Yeah.
that he does, and he seems like a funny guy in real life. So I just like some of the tone of the Boondock Saints kind of reminds me of that
Yeah.
mixed with the like black comedy of like the Coen brothers
Yeah.
and the way that they structure their movies are kind of similar.
Hmm.
Because this movie, Boondock Saints, is told non-linearly, where it's like you come in and you see a crime scene. You see that
Right. Yeah.
you see these two dead guys in the street, and you're like, what the heck happened here?
Yeah.
And then you cut back and you see the detectives investigating what's happened to these guys, and then it cuts back to the night before
Yeah.
with the McManus brothers and the pub with Doc and everybody, and they
It's interesting how that kind of goes back and forth. You
yeah,
know?
and then you see that the Russians were coming in to muscle Doc and take the pub away from him
Yeah.
basically, and then leads to a really fun bar fight and some asses
It's
get
just a
set on
bar fight.
fire.
You guys are a bunch of fucking pussies. Was I allowed to say that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
You know the one scene we can't quote from this movie, the one scene that we cannot quote
Are
on
you talking about the
YouTube.
other F word?
No, I mean, well, don't say that either.
Whoa, whoa, no. Oh, well.
Damn, there's so many things in this movie that I'm like trying to like cover our bases, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I forgot about that little thing
Like,
too.
right, right. Can't say that either. Um, hmm, the other that F word.
Not that one. No, I'm talking about the continue the joke.
Oh, oh, okay, yeah, that
That
one.
scene.
Yes,
I think
yeah,
that's probably the most offensive scene in the whole
yeah,
movie. It's
yeah. And let's just go ahead and somewhat talk about that scene. I just thought it was so weird that he convinced Ron Jeremy to be in this movie, and I think basically everybody knows who Ron Jeremy is without having to go into the subject of who
yeah.
Ron Jeremy is. And it's
I
like, did he
don't I
bump
don't
into Ron Jeremy? Was he
I see.
friends with him?
I
Like,
don't think I ever put together that was Ron Jeremy.
yeah, that's. Oh, you didn't know that was Ron Jeremy?
No, I didn't.
Oh shit!
That's funny.
Yeah, that's our boy Ron. Yeah, yeah, because there's a whole scene while he's like, he's
Careful, careful.
he,
How you describe things.
he's in the booth doing stuff.
Having a good time.
Yeah, he's having a good, it's a little bit of fireman time, you know. And so I was just like, because as a kid I was like,
What is he doing?
because I was a connoisseur in
Yeah.
the adult world myself, and I was like, that's not Ron? Is that Ron Jeremy? I was like, that's not. Is that? I looked it up, and I was like, get out of here! That's Ron Jeremy. You know, of course I was young then, but I was like,
Yeah.
ah, that's funny. That's Ron Jeremy. Every
I mean,
once in a while, I think like in cinema, you might see an adult film actress in something. Like it's very rare does it ever happen, and every once in a while, like Ron Jeremy's acting like wasn't perfect in this, but like it made me smile to see him in it. Like
yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny that he was in it.
Yeah, I mean, he's in Ghostbusters. I knew that because
Yeah.
just a guy in the crowd at one part.
Yeah.
But that's like, yeah, I didn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
But
Oh gosh. Yeah. I thought you knew that was Ron Jeremy.
dropping all kinds of bombshells today.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So where are we at now?
Okay, so I was talking about nonlinear storytelling. It does it a few times in the movie where you see the aftermath of something that the
Yeah.
brothers are involved in, and the trio of detectives, and then Willem Dafoe, the FBI agent Smecker, is with them, and trying to piece together what's happening because they're completely misinterpreting interpreting things at first, like trying.
Yeah.
They're like Willem Dafoe can figure out what happened literally, but he doesn't know like the motives behind it,
Yeah.
or because he thinks it's like a gang war that's happening because there's like
Russians versus the Irish. Yeah.
well, Russians and Italians.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
because the Yakubetas are the Italian mafia there.
Yeah.
That so he thinks it's a gang related thing, and then it's not till later he figures out, oh, this is actually a few guys doing like vigilante justice against the mafia. And,
Triumphing over evil.
yeah, let's just talk about Willem Dafoe.
Okay. We're gonna get there. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I love this character.
So, like, I actually thought that this was so. Let's see. How can I get into this? Because I feel like in now in a lot of movies and cinema, you'll see a lot of like progressive things in there. Like, we gotta have this in there, we gotta have this in there. So I thought it was funny that like he was gay in this, and it was just kind of it was funny because it was like he made fun of it, but but he was part of it. So like it was kind of funny that like the way that they did his character, but because I normally when I see stuff like that in movies, it just like makes me roll my eyes. Like I'm just like this is just fucking stupid. But like the way that they did this was like it was in it, and it was before it was considered like to be in movies. It was before it was considered cool. So it was funny to have that type of character in there, and it seemed like William Dafoe just had a lot of fun with it, and that's what I thought was because I'm sure there's people that would watch this movie and would be offended about like what goes on. And it's like, this is just cinema, okay? This isn't real life. So everybody just take a fucking breath for a minute before they start freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
But very funny.
The movie is not woke. That's what we're saying.
Right. Yeah. But
there's gay stuff in it, but it's just there. Like it's just a for you.
Like the whole cuddling part. Yeah. Like just that fucking makes me laugh so hard. He's like on the phone trying to have a conversation. I would say probably somebody from the precinct.
Yeah.
And his lover or whatever is like trying to cuddle with him, and he's like. Gets him off. He's like, all I want to do is cuddle. He's like, he says what he says.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's just moments in that like it's funny, or like when he first walks into like the second crime scene, like when the brothers like clean out that hotel room, and he walks up to the first cop, looks him up and down, and smiles. Like you can clearly tell that he is checking him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's just moments where he's just being himself in it. Like it's just good.
Yeah, he's very flamboyant, but it doesn't feel like he's putting on an act. Like like it feels like he just made up this character and he's just doing it. Like this is it doesn't feel like he's trying to overact or anything.
Yeah.
It feels very natural.
It was really good. He was just so good in it. I mean Willem Dafoe seems like one of those guys. I don't think he knows he's a good actor. Like I don't think he knows.
Yeah, I've always heard he's very humble.
Yeah, he's really good in pretty much everything that he's in. So I thought he was really good in this. And don't get me wrong, like I think like the two main characters, of course, are awesome, but he is just like another. I don't want to call him a side character because he's kind of part of the.
Yeah. He does have high billing in the movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Jack Nicholson Batman situation where he's like not the main character, but he's like one of the main other characters, so he's highly billed.
Yeah, and I did kind of like that his character was kind of wrote to be like pretty intelligent, I guess.
Yeah.
Because he was able to figure out pretty much everything that was going on for the most part. He has moments when he was wrong, but it was really like simple. Like I would say most people that probably work in the FBI could do that. Like he did like the liquid
paraffin.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, like he did that on the hand. Realized he's because bullet holes are a really big clue. It was like really simple stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he's just funny, and he's always picking on Greenlee. Yeah, and I love like the back and forth between like those three cops and him. That shit is so funny. I ain't getting him no fucking bagel. He's like, Greenlee, how many bodies were there? He's like 8 or 9. Yeah, and he's like, points out, well, Greenlee's out getting coffee and bagels. Does anybody else want anything? And he's like, fuck. And he just like walks out. He's a huge freaking guy. Oh, yeah. Willem Dafoe is awesome in this.
Yeah, I will say Greenlee is such a funny punching bag character. Because he is a dumbass, but it's just like he is trying to do his job, but he always always gets something wrong,
Yeah.
except when he doesn't.
Right. Right. He
When
does it.
when he gets something right, and Willem Dafoe gets something wrong later
Yeah.
in the movie, which is
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah. It's funny
Because
how they kind of like teeter that a little bit.
I do want to tie into this and with the brothers and their plot line too. Like, there's a theme with like luck and skill being a thing, like with the characters,
Yeah.
because you're like McManus brothers. They're not trained assassins. They're just guys that they know their way around guns. They've shot guns before since they were young, probably,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not John Wick.
I.
They're not a government
Right.
assassin. They're
Yeah.
just normal guys that got guns and know how to use them and get lucky.
Yeah. I feel
What
like
gets
John Wick has ruined cinema. Okay, so let me just throw a punch at this real quick. John Wick, awesome movie. Like all the movies, they all may not be perfect. Fine, love them. Anyway, you just see the fancy gun kung fu in everything now, and I feel like because John Wick was so successful, it's like, oh, we got to do that. We got to do that. We got to put that in everything. And some things I'm like, I'm okay with it. But that was the thing that I liked about the Boondock Saints. Like it was very like not John Wick.
Yeah,
If that makes
it's
any
like
sense.
not fancy. Like
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
like it's like two brothers make a plan. The plan goes to shit. They adapt and then in real time figure things out.
But
And
there are some moments where I feel like they would have to be pretty good to do some of the things that they do.
I'm not
Which,
saying they're not skilled. It's just that they're skilled and they're insanely lucky.
or, right,
Because
right.
because like the I mean, we'll talk about the hotel scene with the Russians.
Yeah.
The I don't know what the fuck Connor's plan was to get in the air vents and to sneak into the room, so they were gonna like unscrew the vents and like come out and then not get shot to death like while they're doing that.
Yeah.
But then the vent collapses and they're both tied up with their stupid fucking rope.
Yeah.
They get hung and suspended by their ankles, and then they pull out their guns and they start blasting. And
Yeah.
it's just like, I was like, well, that worked out really well.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
really convenient that it just happened to fall right where they needed to.
Well, we are good. Of course we are. You know, they normally got that guy in the movie that jumps behind the couch and you shoot him. Yeah, but you gotta shoot him for 10 fucking minutes. Okay, I got a question for you because we both, I mean, we don't have like, I don't want to say like military knowledge, but we're both connoisseur in guns and airsoft, and you know, we've had a lot of fun with airsoft and paintball and whatnot. So like, how would you would have entered that room? Like, would you like how what would your best take on what you would do? Because we're just like normal people.
Yeah, like I would not go through the vents because the whole Connor's running joke with Connor is that he always copies shit he's seen in a movie
Yeah.
and it somehow works, but in real life, but like I wouldn't do the full John Wick shit, but I'm
Yeah.
just like whenever they're in the weapons dealer and they get the Berettas and their like gear and stuff, I would get a Kevlar vest. I would get smoke
Right.
grenades.
Yeah.
I would get like anything I could possibly use in a combat scenario, and just like toss a smoke or maybe toss a smoke grenade in through the top of the build of the place, and then kick down the door and start shooting them. You know, like that.
Yeah.
Like at least make a distraction so they're not all their attention's not on you when you enter the room.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely kick the door open, toss a flashbang in with the MP5, and just
That's another thing. There,
yeah. I would just
it's kind of funny that
yeah.
that in both movies they just pick pistols, and like that's the only thing they get from the weapons dealer that has
Yeah.
access to like anything.
I know, yeah, I know. They definitely went like very simple, and like I fucking hate Beretta. Like I don't know if you ever shot Beretta. Like I went to a gun range once and shot it, and I don't like Beretta. Like I think if somebody likes Beretta, that's cool. Like I don't, I'm not like I guess if I don't really know what handgun I would have chosen. Like if I had a sidearm.
We also have to think about what would we have done in the '90s.
True, right?
Like
Yeah, but Beretta was popular then in the '90s. It was a very popular like cinema gun prop.
Yeah.
Now that you think of it, yeah.
And a lot of tourist knockoffs of them.
Yeah.
The first movie, there's a lot of scenes where they're actually holding the Taurus equivalent.
Yeah.
because they couldn't get the Beretta in that exact scene. So
Hey,
it's like
you
it
know,
doesn't. Only people like us will notice that. It's
yeah,
fine. It doesn't matter. It's
yeah.
just
Like
like it's
I,
just kind of funny.
I like, I like Taurus. Like at first, I was very, I don't mean to sound like Glock boy type of guy,
Yeah, this
but
is the biggest Glock fanboy I know. Just so you guys know.
I very much enjoy my Glocks, but like I started branching out and got into Taurus, and it was when I got my first snub nose 357. I was like, ah man, I'm not a Taurus guy. And then I tried it and shot it, and I would take a Taurus over a Glock almost any day because it's cheaper, and to me, I think it's just as reliable. Which I'm sure the Glock fanboys are just like, he's not part of us anymore. Like, I'm just saying, like, I've branched out. Like, I love Glock, but I also like Taurus, and I like me some
Yeah.
Smith and Wesson, and I'll even say it, I like High Point.
Hmm. Never shot a high point, so I don't know. I have an
It's
opinion.
I feel like it's like shooting a brick. That's what it feels like. But so the first time I shot a high point, I was using a 40 cal. I was like maybe 15, 20 feet away and I hit a soda can with it, and I was just like, that's pretty far away from High Point. Fucking hit it like dead center, and I was like, okay, like High Point's, it's a lot more accurate than I thought it was.
Hmm.
I kind of enjoy High Point. Now, would have used that to clear that room in the hotel? Probably not. But I ran out of ammo. I wanted to beat somebody to death with. I guess I would have used the High Point. Actually, if you throw a High Point, it actually works like a boomerang. It'll come back to you. So I could have went in the room and threw the High Point, and it would have spinned and shot everybody. By the time it would have came back to me.
This Griff, this isn't shoot 'em. This isn't shoot 'em
I
up.
know.
You can't just make up the rules.
I'm just
How
making
guns
shit up.
work.
Oh, dude, we gotta do shoot 'em up someday. Oh
Jesus
gosh.
Christ, that movie. It's fun. Don't get me wrong, but oh my god, that movie's stupid.
Oh, I know. I would consider that. Um, I would consider that movie like a trash. Definitely trash cinema, but good trash.
Yeah.
There's good trash and bad trash, and I think that movie's really good trash.
Hmm.
And plus, it's got Monica Bellucci in it.
Yeah. Let's not have to censor anymore.
Yeah, right.
Because I actually knew a
Yeah.
guy who talked about shoot 'em up on a podcast, and he literally got demonetized
Oh,
for showing one picture of Monica Bellucci, and she wasn't even naked. I was
jeez.
like, what? It's like, okay.
YouTube is so awesome. That's why I'm glad I moved to Twitter.
Never fix anything, YouTube.
Right.
Never take any constructive criticism.
Jeez. I forgot even where we were at.
It's okay, yeah.
Okay, so we will see.
Okay,
we were on William Defoe. Sorry.
Well, okay, well we kind of understand his character. We've got enough, I think, from that until we get to like the plot points with him.
Yeah.
Like something I like is that we have characters that are just novices. You know, like the McManus brothers.
Yeah.
They're not experts with guns or anything, and they just are really lucky, and they handle things really well until they don't.
Yeah.
Like the second half of the movie where things go wrong. But there's a theme in the movie where it's like people that aren't like because of luck and skill, where it's like they people get incredibly lucky, but and then there are people that are highly skilled that still fuck up occasionally.
Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
very like realistic, and I like that. Yeah, people do get lucky in crazy situations sometimes, and they end up walking away without a bullet hole in them,
Yeah.
or a highly skilled detective or a federal agent could review a file a million times and still miss something,
Yeah.
and still not think of one variable that was like the vital variable in the situation.
Yeah. Are you kind of like talking about like when William Defoe realizes like when he finds Rocco's thumb, and
Yeah,
he's like, "That's impossible that he remembers Rocco like coming into the police station."
well, it's that I'm fine with because it's a movie, but I
Yeah.
just mean like no matter how skilled you are, you can still make a
Oh yeah.
mistake,
Oh well, yeah.
and no matter like how much of a novice you are, you can get lucky.
Yeah.
Like you could still like you can navigate through a dangerous situation through luck. But I've seen this point out where the in the movie I need to when I rewatch it next I'll need to like point it out and like look at the footage. But every time that like some kind of luck happens to the McManus brothers, they always show us a shot of their crucifixes. So it's
Okay.
it's kind of like divine intervention,
Yeah.
possibly.
Yeah. Okay.
I never thought about that, but next time I watch it, I'm gonna look for that and like this because
Yeah.
that's kind
Yeah.
of
No,
an
I never thought of that. Yeah.
interesting idea. Like I do remember off the top of my head the toilet scene where Connor is
Right.
handcuffed to the toilet and he uses Hulk strength basically and rips it
Yeah.
out of the ground to free himself. It does cut back to his crucifix on the wall on the hook a
Yeah.
couple times. So
Okay. So let's acknowledge that real quick. Okay. Then we go to the next interaction between bad guys. So they've got the okay. So let's go to so you got the hotel scene. Like after they kill everybody, they pull their cross out,
mm-hmm.
and you got the little slow mo on the cross,
Mm-hmm.
and then I want to say after they kill like Ron Jeremy and those other two bad guys. There's like right before they walk in there, you see them like adjust their cross or whatever, or tuck it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to say, let's see, and then I'd say one more scene because I don't remember seeing the cross in the like the last scene where they clip Yakavetta.
The
Yeah,
execution
but
scene.
but I'd say that last one where you see like Rocco die. Like they say the prayer, but I can't remember if I
We
see
haven't even
the.
talked about the prayer yet.
Yeah,
Like that's a something really famous about this movie
yeah,
is
and then I don't remember seeing the cross in that, but I see where that theory comes from now. But I
mm-hmm.
never thought of it. But now that I'm like rethinking it,
Mm-hmm.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. I can't take credit for that. I'll credit whoever it was that said it. I'll find it. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I just think that it's a movie that has a lot of like little things to
yeah,
think about in the film. But yeah, it's not every day you watch a movie where a man gets killed by a toilet that is dropped off of a building on top of
right.
him.
Yeah, that's a
That's
hell of a jump too. That looked pretty real, believe it or
yeah,
not. I
yeah.
mean, that looked pretty.
I think it must have been like 99% real because of their budget they were working
Yeah,
with. Like yeah, jumping off a building, dropping a toilet on somebody, and falling out of the air vent, tied up by your ankle, and shooting. You know, doing the shooting scene. Like there's a lot of really cool action set pieces in this movie that,
yeah,
but they're all like very practically done, even though they're insane. Like when you think about what's literally happening in this scene, that it's
yeah.
insane. But you're like, the way it's shot and the way it's executed is very practical, and it looks like
Yeah, there's
it's
not much CGI in that. It definitely looks practical. It looked like he used squids
squibs,
or squibs,
squibs. Yeah,
squibs.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought it was called squids. Squibs. Yeah, because there's a few moments where like you'll see the slow mo and you see like the camera kind of like turn
Mm-hmm.
when they're in the when in that hotel room
Mm-hmm.
shooting up those guys. They does that slow mo. It just looks like they're using that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do they. I don't think they use squibs much anymore. Or I don't.
Yeah.
Tarantino would be like the only guy I would think of that would be doing that right now.
Well, in like action movies, they don't really use them very much anymore. But it's more like in horror and stuff. They
Yeah.
still use a lot of practical stuff like that.
Yeah. Hmm.
But that I don't know. Maybe just like a shift in the filmmaking of today.
Yeah,
I
I think
think.
filmmaking now is just pretty lazy. Every once in a while, somebody will come out with something pretty good, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah. But I just okay. So I'm just trying to move along here to make sure we cover
Mm-hmm.
everything. Uh, so the first half of the movie basically is those two set pieces.
Mm-hmm.
They that's when they're on the trail of the McManus brothers. Don't quite understand everything yet, and that's kind of when we get the mission statement with them, seeing them and Rocco in the apartment,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where they where they explain that like God spoke to them and their like what their mission
Mm.
was, what their mission is, and that's like when we kind of figure it out because the first incident wasn't really motivated by any of that. It was just
Defending
yeah,
themselves. Yeah.
defending themselves, and then they get the message from God, and that's when they do the hotel hit.
Yeah.
But because they knew they got information from the two dead Russians, they got their information about where the meeting was going to be, and
Yeah.
basically they're not. like super planned out with their ideas. They just kind of stuff falls in their lap and they do it.
Hmm.
So like that's the part where they get like really lucky and everything. Then after they've killed a few of the mafia guys, Papa Joe, the Don of the Yakavetta clan, he's so that's when he starts to get nervous because it's like it's not just like losing one guy, it's like losing like his whole organization is being
Yeah.
targeted by these guys. And so then he calls in a favor to Augustus, the blind guy who is, I think he was like an ex mafioso because he's like 80 years old,
Yeah.
but he
Fuck
just
you.
but like I think he served with like he was on Papa Joe's father's
Yeah.
crew, I
Yeah.
think, and he's like, I need somebody to take care of the situation, an outsider, not from
Yeah.
somebody in the family, because he because technically Rocco is a part of the Italian mob, and like
Yeah.
he's a package boy, like he's
Yeah.
lowest tier you can be, but there's a whole thing with the mafia where it's like you can't do like gang on gang violence inside the same gang, like they have to put out a contract on one of their own, like
Yeah.
that's just so there's not like you kill the wrong guy on your crew, the whole crew could turn against you
Yeah.
and like kill you too. So it's like he's just trying to think strategically how to take care of the situation.
Hmm.
So he meets with Augustus, and then Augustus tells him about the Duke
Yeah.
or El Duce, who is a mob hitman that has been in prison for he got 25 to life for a hit he did in the 1970s. And I gotta say the introduction of this character is so well done,
Yeah.
in the high security cell with all the handcuffs, all the things he's tied to.
Yeah, he's in a birdcage looking thing too.
Yeah, like a bird cage on
Yeah.
wheels inside a cell. They're wheeling him out to get his parole granted because
Yeah.
mafia's like just grease some palms, get this guy out,
Yeah.
let him do this job for us. And yeah, like that's when you get like a really threatening villain in the movie where
Yeah.
there's I mean Papa Joe is technically too because you can tell like this guy kills people and he just doesn't give a fuck. He's
Yeah.
just constantly threatening people, kind of implicitly too, like not directly stating that he's gonna kill you,
Hmm.
but it's just like one of those guys you fuck up in front of and he just looks at you and you're like, oh fuck, I'm
Right.
dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, like between him and El Duce, they're like the two like threatening villains
Hmm.
of the movie. That's when the second half's when it gets serious, where McManus brothers they're actually planning their plan now, like a bit more out because like the Sin Bin hit was kind of Rocco knew Vincenzo was going to be there,
Yeah.
so it's like just take him out because he'll be isolated, so it'd be easy to do. But then they're like, oh, we're gonna go for all the marbles, take out all the
Hmm.
Yakuvetas at once, and now the Yakuvetas know that about the Saints that they're taking them out one by one.
Hmm.
Now they're all together at Papa Joe's house, or it's Papa Joe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Papa
Yeah.
Joe. Yeah, Giuseppe is his real name, but I'm like Papa Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, like so they have the element of surprise in the first half of the movie, so
Hmm.
that's how they were able to take out so many of the bad guys. But now the bad guys understand what's happening. They're getting ready to retaliate
Hmm.
against them, and they fortify at Papa Joe's mansion. And the Saints try to sneak in through the basement to do.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure Connor saw that in a movie, and I'm sure it worked fine in that one case, but
Yeah.
not when the enemy knows that you're coming.
Yeah.
And that's where we get into Smecker's thing, where he's grappling. Now he understands like the vigilantes are doing this,
Yeah.
where he's like, yeah, but I try. I'm a man of the law. I try to put these people behind bars, all these organized crime people, but I can't ever get to them. I can't make anything stick.
Yeah.
And then he sees the brothers just cleaning house, just taking out a bunch of like high level people that he's been trying to nail for so many years, and he's like, maybe they are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to rethink my whole worldview on how on the law and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say even though these movies are incredibly Catholic, the Catholic Church does not like these movies.
Oh, I'm sure they don't.
I mean, not just the whole like like the murder, the moment like justifying murder thing, but like the scene in the church with Rocco coercing the priest,
Yeah.
just
Don't fucking look at me.
yeah, just do a little illustration.
Yeah.
Having a priest by the head like with a gun pointed at him, it's like do exactly what I fucking tell you, or you're gonna be God or something.
Yeah. And I
Just
like it where he's like William Defoe's talking about. He's like, well, the priest asked William Defoe. He's like, well, do you think they would ever hurt anybody? He's like the brothers. No, the Italian guy. Well, he might. He's kind of stupid. And that's so funny because the Italian guy's got the gun pointed to Rocco's head,
yeah,
but then the brother has his gun pointed at Rocco's head.
yeah.
He's like, I'll fucking do you right here, right now.
Just imagining if like somebody's finger slipped in that scene,
Right?
how would Smecker react to seeing the priest or Rocco get shot and that's like right in front of him
Yeah.
like that? It's like, luckily, again, luck, tying into things
Yep.
like that,
Yeah.
that very easily could have gone badly.
Yeah.
So it's like, so that's with the moral ambiguity thing. And it's like, I think these guys are good guys, but they're also coercing clergy into agreeing with them. I'm like, I don't know. That's some mafia shit too.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't, I don't know how I stand on that. Suck a dry.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I haven't had a soda in like 7 months, so.
Yeah, say goodbye to your diet.
I know,
thanks,
right?
thanks to me.
I just fell off the wagon.
Yeah. So I mean, the big thing at Papa Joe's happens. We haven't even talked about El Duce's intro scene. Like yeah, we talked about him getting out of prison because of the parole and everything.
Yeah.
But talk about a fucking entrance.
Oh, yeah.
Like one of the most insane things you've ever seen. A guy with a gun vest that has 6 holsters on it. And one hitman, 6 guns, being sent after 3 guys with guns. That's one of the most like batshit crazy ideas.
Yeah.
It's like an assassin would try to be like practical, like try to like just use as little gear as he needs, and like just move quickly and like just take him out. Like
Yeah.
basically what the McManus brothers are doing.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, no, we want this guy to have an aura about him, like a
Yeah.
scariness with him, and where he pulls out the vest and it just.
Yeah,
You want to say the line? Want to say Smecker's line?
uh, is it the firefight scene?
Yeah.
It was a firefight.
Yeah, and that.
I was thinking of that one, and I was thinking of the other one where he starts freaking out. Um, he's like, I don't even fucking know these people. I don't even know what's going on. And that's when he finds the thumb.
Yeah. Yeah, that scene is so crazy, and especially knowing like the budget they were working with the 6 guns and all the stunt work with the blanks and like making the cars get hit by the bullets and everything during that. Maybe he's not a great assassin because he has 6 guns and with multiple rounds in each of them, and he only clips the 3 guys once each.
Yeah.
And they only clip him once and like in the shoulder. That's what makes him run away.
Yeah, they're fucking dumping mags and cylinders at each other. And I'm
Yeah.
like, nobody fucking hit any. Well, I mean, like, did, but they didn't.
Maybe that ties into the thing because of the twist later on that maybe God's on both of their sides. Where
Yeah.
it's like I get that you guys have to fight right now, but I don't want you to kill each other.
Right.
Just test each other. And
Yeah.
like I don't know, that it's one of those rule of cool things where like don't think about this practically, like the practical part of my brain shuts off when that scene happens.
Yeah.
As I'm like
Very cool,
I'm
though.
like I don't care, this is cool. I
Yeah.
don't care, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the El Duce scene happens, and then he runs off. Brothers have to nurse their injuries from that encounter. That's when things really start going wrong, was because that's the variable they didn't know about. Like they didn't expect them pulling in an assassin on them like that, specifically targeting them, because now they understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know their tactics. They know how to plan against them. And then the hit on Papa Joe happens, and then Papa Joe captures them and is gonna kill him. But then the interesting thing happens is El Duce is still at large. Like he just got winged in the shoulder
Yeah.
with a bullet, and they're like he's remembering what Augustus said, that the guy is insane, that he
Mhm.
is not going to stop until the job is done. So he's like, oh shit, I've got these three guys in the basement this guy's going to try and kill. Uh, and I know he's gonna be close by because he's not gonna stop till the job's done. He's like, I'm gonna get out of here.
Right.
You 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 four guys, yeah, you're gonna take care of the problem. You're gonna take care of the Saints in the basement. You're gonna take care of the El Duce kicking down your door.
Yeah.
And it's like okay, sure.
Yeah,
They,
okay, I
they,
guess we'll
these
stay here.
these four random schlubs can totally handle that.
Yeah.
That's just one of those cliche villain things where you're like why not just kill them now and just
I know, right?
James Bond shit.
Yeah.
It's like he seems like a practical guy, like to take care of business, but then he unleashed El Duce and he knows he's out there.
Yeah.
It's like maybe I should get out of here
Yeah.
while I still can because
And also he thought that Rocco was the one that was really actually doing all the killing and not the two brothers.
yeah.
So that was kind of like an interesting thing that he never thought about them too. He was like, they're just kind of like peons and Rocco's the guy.
Yeah. Couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, right.
In
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Papa Joe, before he exits, he's like, I know exactly what to do. Goes, opens the door, just murders Rocco point blank range.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't like trying to predict things at that point in the movie because I'm like, it's turned so many things on its head that I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting. I was like, oh, it's like okay, people can just die or something,
Yeah,
something
right.
crazy can happen here, and then I'm just like that's really sad, and that scene's really good. Like some of the best acting that
Mhm.
David Del Rocco does in the movie is his final words to the brothers. And
Yeah. And what does he say? He's like, "Don't ever stop." Is that what he says?
yeah, don't ever stop as long as you're alive. Never stop,
Yeah.
basically. And then oh god, remember the Smecker plot line of this scene? How he helps out the brothers.
Yeah, where Willem Dafoe actually committed to that part to make out with that other dude.
Yeah. Willem Dafoe shows up at the Yakavetta house fully in drag, totally selling it as
Yeah.
like a hooker or some kind
Yeah.
of character like that.
Primo in his
Hey, entertainment.
Yeah. He set me over for entertainment.
It's so funny like that an FBI agent would think of this
Yeah.
as a way to
Yeah.
like I understand being undercover, but you think it would just be like undercover as a mob guy to get it, like maybe a mob guy that is dead, but they don't know that the character's
Right,
dead
yeah.
or something. But you're like, oh, you went full on skirt and stockings and lipstick
Makeup and everything.
Yeah,
You want a shot at the title? Or right up the what is the sham or the jam or something like that. He's
yeah.
like, what the?
Yeah, so he gets a little too convincing, and his wig falls off during
Yeah.
the scene, and the other guy's not into that. So Smecker
Shoots him.
just clips him with the little suppressed pistol in his purse.
I do love that he's like too far,
Yeah,
and he's like, it's on, and he goes down there and he clips
but he puts the wig
back on, right? Hey,
That-
might as
that's-
well.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing. It's like
But would have the Duke, because he doesn't kill women and children.
They established that earlier that he
Right,
doesn't kill
so
women and children.
he put the wig back on, not knowing that the Duke was going to be there, but he only saw the back of him, so he considered that to be a woman. So
And
that's
then just-
knocks him out. And that
yeah.
could have been at another moment of
divine intervention.
divine
A
intervention.
little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
Mhm.
But I just like that whole thing is really interesting when you think of the divine intervention angle.
Yeah.
Because it's like and luck, where it's like if he didn't put the wig back on, he would
Yeah, he would've killed him, yeah.
shot him. Yeah.
He would have.
But I just think it's really funny. I'm like, this is not the first time Smecker has done this, is it? because he's like so into it, like
Yeah.
so comfortable dressing like he does and acting like a woman.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think he's done this in the past, like on other stings
Yeah.
he's done. I'm like, maybe this is a character that he created to infiltrate a place and then start killing people if he needs to, or just
Yeah.
to get information. who knows what the FBI's doing? You know, they can do zany shit like that.
Right, yeah.
That's fine. And we know that even for an FBI agent, he is an eccentric person. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, he'd come up with that.
Hmm.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a very funny character idea that really plays into the plot
Hmm.
in a funny way that you're like you're like, oh, that's a twist. I didn't expect him. I thought he'd come in with a SWAT team or something because he knows that the hit's gonna happen
Right,
at Papa
yeah.
Joe's house. He just come in to just kill him,
Yeah.
that way. But I'm like, that's unconventional as fuck.
Yeah,
I love it.
right?
I love it because I was like,
Yeah.
nobody could have predicted that happening.
Yeah, he kind of stepped in that vigilante type of like idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then so Duke knocks him out, and then he's got the little suppressed pistols. He's killed the four guys at that
Hmm.
point. I mean, though the three guys, because Willem Dafoe killed the one guy in the bathroom.
Yeah, then
But
he killed another guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh, that's right. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Willem Dafoe
because he goes, you want to go for a twofer, I think?
yeah,
And
it's two. So they each got two kills
yeah.
there, at least. We don't know if the Duke might have killed some guards outside or something to get in.
Yeah.
Like he could have done that. But then we get to a really big twist, like the twist of the movie, I think, where he goes down to the basement to fulfill his contract to kill the Saints, the targets that he was hired to
Hmm.
do. And then he comes across them with Rocco's dead body, and they're doing their prayer,
Right.
which they establish earlier in the movie is a family prayer that has been passed down from father to son
Hmm.
over the generations. And the El Duce hears that, and he stops and puts his guns away because he's like, wait a minute, I know that prayer. And then boys pull out the stolen guns, from the
Hmm.
guys that they killed to get free. And then, like, they had done the first half of the prayer, I
Yeah.
think, and then they heard El Duce behind them, so he pulled the pistols out on them, and then he finishes the prayer,
So they
like
would automatically know that.
that, like, oh, like, I don't know how we're connected, but I know that we're connected somehow.
Yeah.
And then he comes in and like embraces them, and then you're like, oh shit, he's their dad.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, whoa, what? That's insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Pretty good. That is a pretty interesting concept. Not knowing that that was eventually going to be their father.
yeah, because you don't know anything really about their backstory,
Yeah, you
like
really
their
don't. Yeah.
parents. There is one deleted scene with their mom where there's a phone call where they just call their mom in Ireland, and it's just a comedy scene. Like they just shot it to be funny,
Yeah.
but that actress is like technically used in the movies when you see the picture of the woman with the two babies.
Oh, okay.
That's that actress.
Yeah.
They actually shot a scene with her interacting with her grown-up
Hmm.
sons, which was an interesting idea. I understand why they cut it because it doesn't really progress the plot or
Hmm.
anything.
Yeah.
They're like okay, so they know a little bit about their family, just slightly, but
Yeah.
you don't really understand. You don't know anything about their dad, and then freaking the Duke is their dad.
Yeah.
Crazy idea. And the fact that it works as well as it does, despite all the crazy twists that they've thrown at us, and it's like it's inconsistent yet it's consistent at the same time
Yeah.
because you don't know what to expect moment to moment, yet everything feels in the same tone.
Yeah.
Like it's surprising, but it's not. It never like ruins the movie for you or anything.
Right. Yeah.
It's always the same feeling throughout the whole film.
Hmm.
So we get to the big ending scene. You're like, most movies that would have been the climax, like the shootout at the Yakovetas
Hmm.
would have been the
Yeah. True.
climax.
Yeah.
But then the true climax happens with the court trial of Papa Joe, who's been like the FBI and everybody's been gunning for him, so they've got him in court now
Yeah.
over all the shit that he's done. But he's also, it's like the third time he's been tried for these
Hmm.
things, and he's walked every single
Yeah.
time.
What do they say? He's the next John Gotti.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I didn't know who John Gotti was when I first saw the movie. So
Oh.
now that I know who John Gotti
Yeah.
is, I'm like, that's actually a really funny reference there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, he's gonna walk.
Yeah. He's gonna walk. He's gonna walk. He's like one side is like the like people that are trying to convict him, and the other one's like the families or something like
Yeah, of
that. Yeah,
all his victims.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
one half is like the FBI trying to take him down. The other's like however whatever he said.
yeah. And then we get to the crazy thing where not only is Smecker helping out the brothers and doing
The other cops, yeah,
the trio of detectives
yeah,
help them get through the metal detectors and through all the security with their hardware, and then they just come in, take an entire courtroom of people hostage, basically,
yeah,
and carry out their own trial of sorts with,
yeah. They sure sure do.
yeah, with their it is just kind of funny, like just as a visual metaphor of like what they do in
Hmm.
the stories, or just like it's like they literally are taking the law into their own hands,
Hmm.
and then they literally come into a courtroom and execute somebody in front of a courtroom full of people.
Yeah.
So it's like you can there's some moral questions that you're gonna ask when you're watching this. You're like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but I'm like, they're sure as hell gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, they
It's
definitely
like,
sent a message
yeah,
because they had that, you know, the code of suggestions
mhm,
of what people should be doing,
yeah,
and it's basically like a threat. Like if you're gonna act, like if you're gonna be like this corrupted individual, like one day we are going to find you and
mhm.
we're gonna send you to any god, or is it wherever
We'll send you to whatever God
God you
you
wish.
wish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And so
yeah.
and I'm sure that put a lot of fear into people because like, well, no, I think he turned the cameras off, right?
I
I can't remember if he.
it's so confusing because like in real life they don't record that stuff. They don't record courtrooms.
Yeah.
They have people who type out
Right. Yeah.
they dictate what is being said, but they make sketches, you know, because there's like some kind of there's a legal thing with like you can't like videotape a trial,
Yeah.
but
Because I think
it's
he
like
says like, "Get the fucking cameras."
mm-hmm,
Like I think he was telling him to like,
turn off the
yeah,
feed.
turn off the cameras because I think he was wanting the people to tell
Mm.
their story when they ran out of the
So the
courtroom.
media couldn't use it against them. They couldn't edit the footage and make it look
Right.
like they were
Yeah.
like could misrepresent what they're saying. Like
Yeah.
because media never does anything like that.
Oh yeah. No. Never. Yeah. Never.
Yeah, yeah. But it's I'm just like, and I like the ambiguity of touched like storytelling with like you don't know everything. You're kind of you're shown only a certain angle of something.
Yeah.
I really like the filmmaking choice where they do the prayer where they've got Yakoveta on his knees and they've got the two pistols and
Mhm.
the dad has the shotgun
I know,
on the
dude.
back of his
Yeah.
head, and then they're doing the prayer, and when the prayer ends they're gonna exit, they pull the trigger. I'm like, and they don't show when they pull the trigger. All you do is hear it, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you see Willem Dafoe's reaction to it
Yeah.
because obviously that was horrifyingly
Oh,
violent.
I'm sure
What
they took
just
the fucking head off.
yeah,
Yeah.
like nothing left of him at
Yeah.
that range. But yeah, I like it where they don't show everything in a story,
Yeah.
where they leave it up to like your
Yeah.
imagination
Your
is more
imagination. Yeah.
vivid and more scary than like anything they could show you.
Yeah.
So like just imagining what that would be like to be a person in that courtroom, see it happen, like
Yeah.
that's traumatizing. Like that
Yeah, and that
that's a
probably would have added to the higher budget trying to show that,
yeah, you use a small budget effectively.
Right,
That's another
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just finding a creative way to not spend money. That's
Yeah.
or just spend as
Yeah, and
little
it's
money
still
as
yeah, and
possible.
it's still like totally good story. Like of what was going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, and then you're like, okay, so the movie's that's gonna be. You'd think it'd cut like right when they pull the trigger and you see the reaction to
Yeah.
it, and that's like when the movie would end.
Mhm.
But then no, it goes further than that. It goes with the reaction of people
Yeah.
like it's the actual movie at first where you see like the news headlines
Mhm.
and like interviews happening because of it, because like the one girl, I don't know how she was related to the case, but the girl who's in like the front seat, that
Mhm.
El Duce like comforts her for a second, but he
Yeah.
says you have to look dear,
Yeah.
but it's just like I don't. But she's the one that you see like burst out of the courtroom
Mhm.
and get interviewed by
Yeah.
the first person that talks to the media, basically. But it's like you get that, and then you get the scene of the Saints and their father, and the in the room wherever they are. I don't know if it's like a hotel room they're hiding out in,
Yeah.
or if they're in transit, if they're somewhere else at
Yeah.
that point. That's not the point. The point of that is just like it's like, are we gonna keep doing this? Is this and then
Yeah, because where would they go after Clip and Yakavetta?
yeah, and it's just like and then father reassures them it's like it's not about how far we're going to take this, it's do you have the constitution, the depth of faith to go as far as necessary.
Yeah.
So it's like he's not saying he's like he doesn't say go as far as we can, he says go as far as necessary.
Yeah.
Like so that kind of shows a little bit of moderation too.
Yeah.
That's something I think it's playing into the fact that their dad is, so much older and wiser than
Mhm.
them.
Yeah.
That he's a lot more tempered with his way he talks. Like, I don't think you actually hear Billy Connolly cuss or do say anything crass at all in the
No.
movies.
Yeah.
Where he just always has like a quiet dignity to him that he
Yeah.
doesn't like the brothers are just they're like jokesters. They're
Yeah.
constantly cutting up and saying rude things and their dad's like, I gotta be the mature one. I gotta wrangle these two children that I wasn't aware that I had, or
Yeah.
I don't know if he did know at that point that he had the kids.
I don't know because I thought it was really weird to try to understand that concept when I was young. When I watched that about, I was like, well, how would he know? Like those are his kids type of thing. But it was the prayer thing, so that's how. But I just didn't understand that when I was a kid. But yeah, I just like for him not to know like if those were his kids or not. I mean, like, so he probably left when those the two brothers were probably very very young. Probably did that hit and was in there ever since. So he probably just didn't know what his sons went out to go do in life. He probably just never thought he'd run into him like that. So that's that whole another divine intervention that the
Yeah,
brothers are out doing what they believe in, and their
hmm
dad you know
yeah,
comes into it.
yeah. And I just think that that's really an interesting last scene to have with the main cast,
Yeah.
and so like oh we're still gonna be doing things, and then cuts to the credit scenes that we talked about earlier about like seemingly real people
Mhm.
reacting to the events of the movie.
Mhm.
Which I still that boggles my mind like what how they did that exactly, like
Mhm.
how they if people saw the movie and this is like them reacting to it, or if it's like they were just told a plot line, or like I just don't know how they did it because it is
Yeah.
really interesting how
Yeah.
they
It
did
seems
it.
very genuine. Genuine. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really for sure
Mm-hmm.
um, on that. Yeah. I don't know.
But on that note, on the first film, tell us your reactions to it and what you think about the all the things that the movie touches on, the morality, the execution of the story, and the stunt work, the directing, all that. Yeah, I didn't really mention this, but Troy Duffy, when he did that, was a first time movie director
Oh right. Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
did
True. Yeah.
that he
That's a pretty
did.
good movie to have to be
Yeah,
like your first movie.
yeah, and he mentions multiple times when interviews he never went to full film school. He was just a bartender in Boston that had a band and
Yeah.
decided he wanted to write a script, and that's what he wrote.
Yeah. Well, that was like the guy that did Evil Dead, right? Like the first.
Sam
Yeah,
Raimi, yeah,
Sam Raimi.
yeah,
Yeah, like when he did it, that was like he had like practically no budget and just did it in like some random cabin in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, no budget and a really nice friend named Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah. Because I think yeah. Yeah. We've
yeah,
talked about Evil Dead.
hmm
Um, but yeah,
yeah,
interesting how every once in a while like somebody like that can do something like that.
yeah. And just to put it in perspective, like the budget he was working with, just keep this in mind. In like today's money, this like between $6 and $8 million is what he spent basically on both of them. That is what it costs to make a 30-second Super Bowl ad nowadays.
Holy shit!
Yeah, think about that. like,
Wow.
like, I mean, I know the price has gone up just recently. They
Yeah.
mentioned like with the new Super Bowl that it had gone up again, but I was like, man, that puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah. Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, make a feature-length film out of a Super Bowl commercial. Just try and do that. That's
Yeah.
that'd be nuts.
Huh. Yeah.
Oh, inflation, we love you so much.
Right.
Okay, so we got through the first one. We pretty in depth. I think we got
Yeah, I
most
think we
most of
covered the first one pretty
most of the
good.
things.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing this can tie into the second movie too.
Mhm.
Just a thing that I really like that the McManus brothers can do is that they're multilingual
Oh
characters.
yeah. Right.
Like
Yeah.
that they because their mother insisted on it, as
Yeah.
Connor says that, or Murphy, I don't remember which one said it, they but they've learned 4 or 5 languages at
Yeah.
least, and they use it periodically in the movie to speak to each other in code.
Yeah.
So, because like the company they're with can't understand them.
Yeah.
I just think it's so cool, and there's a lot of like mafia movies and stuff where there are people that speak different
Mhm.
languages and they speak in code to each other all the time. And I like I think that's a cool skill set to have for a character that
Yeah.
like John Wick, he has that same thing
Right. Yeah.
where it's like he can speak basically any language because of all of his experience.
Yeah.
Like he has learned so many different languages. But just wanted to mention that because there's a scene or two in the second one that that happens where a character is speaking a different language and they think that they're speaking in code and then the brothers can understand them perfectly
Mhm.
the whole time, which is just kind of a funny bit that occasionally happens.
Yeah.
So we move on to the second film. It came out, so 99 was the first film, and then 2009, like almost pretty much a decade later, that's when this comes out. And it's got a little bit higher of a budget, like it's estimates, but
Yeah.
like 6 million to 8 million, just on the higher end of that instead of the lower end. But yeah, this movie is kind of divisive in the fans, but I think that's kind of true, with sequels to films, especially cult movies like this, where it's
Mhm.
like smaller fan base but really devoted fan base, where it's like you're not gonna please everybody. I
Yeah.
get that, but it's one of my favorite type of movies to talk about, where it is kind of split, where half the audience thinks it's a good movie, half the audience thinks it's a bad movie, and
Yeah.
and then I like it where I just from moment to moment in the film I'm like, that's really good, and then I'm like, I didn't like that so much,
Yeah.
just a fun back and forth experience that is kind of unique. Than
Yeah.
I'd rather have a movie like that than a movie that is just straight bad, like
Yeah.
because I'm like then I just wasted my time. Why did I watch that,
Yeah.
But I will say, I think that as sequels go, I really do like this one because it does some things I didn't expect.
Yeah.
It adds a lot to the story, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, are you talking about like when they go into like their father's background?
That's
Yeah.
yeah, part of it
Yeah.
is that the yeah, spoiler, the sequel to the movie is half sequel, half prequel because
Yeah.
it goes into the backstory of El Duce, or Noah McManus is his real name, but him as a young man in the 50s, and you see his origin, how he became a vigilante, and how he ended up in the prison. They don't show the hit that got him in prison,
Yeah.
but they show him executing different people at different hits that he did, but does it really succinctly, very deliberately. Like it's just they show you just enough.
Yeah. Mhm.
You get it. You get everything that you need to know out of those scenes. And I will say the guy who plays young Noah is a great actor. I meant to look up the
Oh
guy's
yeah. I
name,
didn't. Yeah.
but like in the eyes and the facial expressions, I totally buy that that's young Billy
Yeah.
Connolly I'm
Yeah.
looking at.
Mhm.
Just like how he has that calmness, but also like it's also intimidating
Mhm.
too,
Yeah.
because you can see that he's got a lot of rage behind his eyes, even though he's not showing it.
Mhm.
But yeah, this one is interesting. So the brothers and their father they went off to Ireland and to go into hiding. I'm assuming going back to like an ancestral sheep farm or something.
Yeah.
You know that
Hmm.
like who knows how they got there? They got there. That's
Yeah,
the
they
important
got
thing.
there.
They
Yeah.
got yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Smecker probably helped them out of the country because I don't imagine that it would have been easy to do a hit like that
Hmm.
in Boston and then get out of the country that easily.
Yeah.
They had help somehow. Probably the detectives too.
Yeah,
Probably
I'm
like
sure.
I mean
Yeah.
they let them in the building to do the hit. They're gonna help them get out
Yeah.
probably.
Hmm.
So they're living peacefully on the farm and finally having some time to bond with their father, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But and you get a lot of like POV from Noah in this part where he is like it's like narration in his head,
Hmm.
like watching his sons, and he's like it's like I find it's like they were at peace, for a few years, but there's like I can tell there's something with them. There's something like an agitation that's
Hmm.
coming out of them, or something like that. Something's like just recently something is off about them. Like
Yeah.
they like maybe that old wild side of them is coming back out again,
Hmm.
and and that foreshadows like a minute later the priest comes knocking on their door. There's been a murder of a priest in Boston,
Hmm.
and that ties into the whole like divine thing, I think, where it's
Yeah.
like they felt something was off,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
premonition type
Hmm.
thing. And they, I will say one, I love the opening. This movie's really good, but the like all the priest explaining what happened to the saints and Noah, and he's like, I guess I should call him a saint 'cause, I mean he technically is
Yeah.
like it's technically them as the team, but like yeah, the priest was murdered and they left the pennies on the eyes.
Mm, yeah.
The execution was done similarly to how they did their executions when they
Yeah.
were in Boston. So it's like it's clear that either there's a copycat out there that's doing things that they did, but doing something they don't agree with, or it's them. Someone's trying to frame them for the
Yeah.
murder. So then that's when the brothers that intensity fully comes out of them, and you see them just walk out of the room and go into the rain, into the barn, open, and you pull out the crates
Yeah.
and they like they can
Shave. Yeah. Shaving.
yeah
Whatever's going on.
yeah that's it yeah they shave their beard and their hair and they take a shower. So anybody wanted to see them naked, there you go.
Yeah.
You get to see
Oh,
get
ladies out there.
or Smecker,
Yeah. Right.
whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, whoever might want to see that, you get a little taste of that. They pull out their old trunks with their gear and their guns, and they like reassemble the guns
Hmm.
and everything. But one of my favorite lines in the whole movie is Noah's talking to the priest while the brothers went to do that,
Hmm.
and he's like, "There's one little problem with their plan," and the priest is like, "What's that?" And he's like, "It worked." Because like obviously the plan is to draw out the saints to do
Right.
that,
Yeah.
and they're like, he's like, "Yeah, their plan, yeah, it's a great plan, but you're gonna die because you brought the saints back from the dead."
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a note here when the title card happens, like the whole scene. Troy Duffy, like I mentioned, he was a band guy. Like he had a band, and he really has a passion for music.
Yeah.
And I think he chooses like licensed music and
Hmm.
scores for the
Hmm.
movies really well. I just put this music fucks hard.
Yeah.
Because like it's just like squealing guitar and everything like whenever
Yeah.
it cuts to the title of it, and I was like it's like yeah, this is what I like about this movie. It's like yeah
Yeah. Yeah.
this
I'm
this
invested already.
yeah. And then I'm trying to think how what else like the first movie kind of meandered a little bit in the beginning
Hmm.
because you're getting to learn a little bit about the brothers, their faith, and they don't get along with people at work, and
Yeah.
they get fired a lot, and just the rambunctiousness they have. This movie just like cuts the fat.
Yeah, pretty
It's
much
like
gets straight to the point very
yeah,
quickly.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it
like
really does.
I mean they've introduced them, so you don't really need to spend much time on it.
Yeah.
But it's like boom, Saints are back, title drop, and then it goes to Boston, to like the reactions of the murder that
Hmm.
have happened, and the the detectives are like, oh no, oh
Right?
no,
Are they back? Yeah.
because they're like, oh yeah, we aided and abetted criminals technically,
Yeah.
and those criminals are on their way here now. All the shit's about them is gonna come to light, so we're like, oh god, we're all fucked now.
Yeah.
And also, it plays with your expect. It does this weird thing where it's like, oh yeah, and Paul Smecker died, and you're like, what, what, why?
When did this happen?
Yeah, it's like Willem Dafoe was alive when you shot this. Why is he
Yeah.
dead in the movie? Because like, could you not get him for a week or whatever just to
Right.
film
Yeah.
it? The sequel bullshit excuses when
Mhm.
when characters that should be there aren't there. It's
Mhm.
like it's like
Yeah, because we were kind of upset first that it was like um a woman being um
I, I don't that didn't bother me personally, but
no,
because
no,
I
no, no,
because
no.
I
I meant
like
like you felt like that, like he was replaced.
yeah.
Yeah, no, like the woman thing
I
didn't bother
understand. I
me,
understand.
but
I
it was just
understand.
like you're
I
like, oh well,
understand
it's
your
not Willem Dafoe, so I'm not as
yeah
interested. But I liked it.
yeah
I like the girl. She's a
yeah.
likable character, minus she's really hot. But
Well, she's also a bitch. I'll be real.
oh really?
I mean,
Oh, imagine
not
that.
not in real life. I mean the character.
Oh, oh
I
well,
mean,
yeah,
like everybody's kind of an asshole in these movies,
you're right.
but it's like whenever she first comes in, she just like is at an 11, and
Yeah, I
because
fucking own the place.
because she's like, I'm taking over this investigation from the previous FBI guy
Yeah,
because he's dead, so it's like
yeah.
I have to establish order. But I'm just like, it's like, yeah, you're like really abrasive, even for
Mm,
this movie.
yeah,
I don't know why they wrote her that abrasively, but I guess maybe it's because of the twist with the character later,
yeah,
because it's like to put you off the scent, where you think that oh, she's like more of a straight-laced FBI agent,
yeah,
where it's like, okay, I'm actually gonna do this by the book and figure out, did the Saints do this? Are they back? If they're not responsible for this, who is?
yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And yeah, I Julie Benz is the actress who plays
Okay,
her, and she's like, everything I remember seeing her in. She's really good. She's in Dexter for a couple of seasons,
okay.
where she's Dexter's girlfriend that doesn't know he's a serial killer. It's
I've
kind
seen
of
her in
funny.
I've seen her in other stuff, but like I couldn't tell you where.
It's kind of
Yeah.
funny now that I look at it. She was in a lot of like vigilante themed
Mhm.
things, because Dexter's a vigilante, a serial killer that goes after
Mhm.
serial killers, and then she's in Punisher Warzone as the widow of the detective
Yeah, maybe
that
that's yeah.
that the Punisher killed, not knowing that it was an undercover cop.
Yeah.
So it's like that's a weird thing, like because that was all filmed like within a few years of each other.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a similar
Yeah.
character type or story type that she's in. And I was like, that's
Yeah, it
interesting.
was really hard for me to get like invested in her at first because I really wanted William Dafoe
Yeah.
to be back, and I was like, man, I'm not like I'm trying to care for this character. Like I guess I'm trying to, and then when it progresses, you seem to like her more. Like
Well,
when you get towards the one part.
one of the things is like she comes across as very cocky and like
Yeah. Right.
arrogant,
Yeah.
but then you see her skill when she's looking at the crime scenes,
Hmm.
and you're like, oh, she is like somebody like Will
Yeah.
Dafoe.
Like a prodigy, right?
Yeah, basically,
I mean,
she
yeah.
just presents herself differently than he
Yeah.
does. So it's like it's an adjustment, but it's not like inherently a negative thing. Just if she was still at the 11 she was at in the
Hmm.
very introduction of her character, I wouldn't like her. But
Yeah.
like she mellows out a little bit. When you kind of get used to this character and like understand what her deal is. So yeah, it's like I like I end up liking it, even though it's a bit of a hard sell at first,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
which is kind of like a metaphor for the movie itself, honestly.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like it's like maybe I don't agree with everything that the movie does, but as it goes along, I think it gets better. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a rough start, but I think it gets progressively more interesting. And
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Okay, so they always had an accomplice with the Boondock Saints, where it was like the first movie it was Rocco, who
Mm-hmm.
was the guy who helped them schedule the hits and
Mm-hmm.
like how to do it and everything. So Rocco's dead. He's still in the movie though in a really creative way,
Yeah.
but they have to figure out like they need somebody that knows the current layout of the
Mm-hmm.
Boston underworld and everything. That's when Romeo enters the movie,
Yeah.
played by Clifton Collins Jr., really underrated actor, really funny and everything. Do you know he was the technician guy in Pacific Rim? The guy named Elvis that had
I,
the Elvis haircut.
Dude, I haven't seen Pacific Rim in so long.
Okay, well
Yeah.
I'm just saying like he's one of those guys that shows up, but
Yeah.
like just occasionally. But whenever he shows up, he's always really funny.
Yeah. He was in one movie that I noticed him when I was younger. I think it was called The Last Castle. Um, it's got like I think Robert Redford and a few other, but he plays as like a Emma Reed in that's in prison, and that
Mhm.
character he plays he's always like saluting people.
Mhm.
You're not supposed to salute. I don't want to go too much in that, but he played a character in that movie, and I really liked him. And ever since then, I'd see him in something every once in a while, and because I feel like it's like really underrated. Normally, when he's in something, he's really good, but since he's not like I think a big time actor, I think a lot of people just don't even acknowledge him.
Yeah,
But yeah, I've always enjoyed seeing him on screen. Like I think he's good.
and like with we didn't mention Julie Benz's character is Agent Bloom.
Yeah.
That's her character. With Romeo, there's also a bit of an adjustment period with the character
Mhm.
because you're like he's introduced in a really fun scene where he's fighting this guy with he has his hands
Yeah.
handcuffed and it's like, well, I told you I can't hit you. Find a loophole.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he's very different feeling than anything that had come before in the first movie.
Yeah.
And it is kind of weird that like the Saints go back to Boston, but their dad stays in Ireland,
Mhm.
which it is kind of a odd choice, I
Mhm.
think, a little bit. But it's like it's fine. It's so he can make a big entrance and later in the
Yeah.
movie. So
Right. Right. Yeah.
I'm like okay, it's fine. It's no big deal. But like so they get a recruit and you get the cool scene of him fighting and figuring out how to beat the guy without throwing a punch, and it's really
Mhm.
cool. And then he like stumbles onto the jar of pennies
Yeah.
or like the thing of pennies, and he's like, "Oh fuck, it's the Saints!
Yeah.
Oh no!"
And they fuck with him.
Yeah, that's something that very easily could have gone wrong too.
All
Cause
right.
like imagine if they didn't check the chamber or anything on the Beretta, and it's like just in the other universe.
Blows his head. I can't believe that just fucking happened.
Yeah, so like a similar bit of adjustment with Romeo as a
Hmm.
character. He's he's like he is a big fan of the Saints, which is kind of interesting that he's heard about these guys, but he never knew them
Yeah.
personally. So he's kind of like a protege sort of
Hmm.
too,
Yeah.
even though he's also the guide because he understands like the current layout of the
Hmm.
mafia
Yeah.
and the different mobs in Boston. But yeah, he is a very fun character. Even though I don't think the writing 100% works for his character sometimes.
Yeah,
Cause
he says some off the wall stupid shit,
yeah,
but
like
like I laugh at it. Like I felt like they were trying too hard to be funny in the second one compared to the first one.
that's the thing is
Yeah.
the comedy is a little unnatural at times.
Yeah.
Where it's like I like the setup of him later in the movie where he's got the janitor tied up in the closet and he's like I gotta come up with a tagline.
Yeah.
Say after I kill all the guys.
Yeah.
Like that's funny because he's never done anything this insane before, so he's
Yeah.
playing off of a normal guy. But at the same time, it's like they push the comedy like a little too far. I think where
Yeah.
they just I think the dramatic stuff they're doing in this movie is really good. Like the setup with them coming back to Boston and
Mm.
like
Yeah.
reevaluating the situation, and then with all the backstory with Noah, I
Hmm.
think is really good. So basically, they hire Romeo basically as as their guide to figure things out when they get stateside, and yeah, he does help them out in that department. something I noticed. There's a lot of like Connor and like different characters they
Hmm.
point out in the movies. Like that's some stupid shit you'd see in a movie or something.
Yeah.
Like they kind of wink at the audience, but not like too annoyingly.
Hmm.
In this one, it's kind of more literal because there's like dream sequences of how the hit is supposed to go,
Yeah.
and it's done in like 70s like
Yeah.
film grain style, where it's just like everything goes off without a hitch, without any problems at all, and it's just like ideal version of what's gonna happen, and then it shows what actually happens,
Uh-huh.
and it's a complete fucking mess, and
Yeah.
yet still works out.
Yeah.
But it's like it's just so funny seeing their plans go to shit. Is always
Yeah.
something funny about these movies. And Romeo saying, "I can drive the forklift. I can get you there, no problem." He's like, "I can't. You can't fucking see where he's going."
Yeah. Because he's got the box. He's got the box in front of him while he's trying to drive.
Go left. Go left.
uh, no, that's funny. I forgot all about that. But I didn't get the chance to watch the second one again, which I have seen it, but I didn't get the chance to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's fine. Like it's a movie where a lot happens anyways, and we're kind of just scattershotting this anyway. So
Yeah.
it's like we're just kind of going off of our feelings for the movies. So it's like it's fine
Yeah.
if we don't cover everything. That gives you more incentive to watch the movie yourself.
Right. Yeah.
If we don't cover something, we're not gonna. Maybe we don't spoil everything. Maybe you get surprised pleasantly. So
Right.
you know
Well.
that's my philosophy anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. We might. Or are we going to talk about the ending?
We'll get there.
Okay. I know we're not there yet, but
I gotta
yeah.
explain
Yeah.
what happens. So yeah, so they something that I wanted to ask you just as a question from what you remember anyway. I just noticed it, looking at it really critically in this one. They do a lot of like comedic reversals of what happened in the first movie, like like it's not them, it's them.
Yeah.
Like that kind of like if you had just watched it, like if you do a binge watch of both of them back to back, it's really noticeable that there's certain parts that are like kind of copy and paste,
Hmm.
like each hit kind of plays like on the opposite of what happened the first time,
Hmm.
but it's all kind of done for comedy, so it's not that bad. It's just like thinking about writing it, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's a little too similar, maybe, where it's like maybe you should have mixed it up just a little bit
Yeah.
more. But it's fine. It's I'm still having fun, even though I'm being a little bit critical of it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad film. I will say that I don't think it's bad. I
Yeah.
just think that
I think it's just
it's flawed,
yeah, it's just
but
enjoyable.
it's
Like
not bad.
yeah, like I was
Like
like I liked it, and that's about as far as it. You know.
I'm really happy it exists. I'm happy that Troy Duffy got to come back and do
Yeah.
another movie and we got to spend more time with these characters and
But
learn more
but
about
but
them.
I will admit, like if the third one actually happens, if it is or if it isn't, whatever. Let's say it does. I'll admit I'll expect more out of them.
Yes, definitely.
So like he's gonna have some big shoes to fill,
Hmm.
and I am a very harsh critic. So if
Really? No, I didn't know that
yeah,
about
you
you.
didn't know that. Yeah, like so if I don't know if I would review the third one like I'd review it with you like by myself but like I would if I definitely like I don't think I'd sit down and really tear apart the second one because I don't think it's not something I feel like I would want to cover completely like by myself. I'm like
Yeah.
about it. I don't think it's a movie I would feel like I needed to like rip into. But like the third one, I don't know. I'd have to watch it first and decide if I wanted to kind of leave it like how I felt about the second one or not.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes I'll watch a movie and I'll be like, it's okay, and then sometimes I'll watch one and it just really makes me angry, and I
Hmm.
really want to talk about it. So I don't know, it'd be hit or miss for me, but I do expect more out of them. Now, do I think
Hmm.
it's going to be as good as the first one? No.
Of course not. No,
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
like
Yeah,
very rarely do sequels actually do better than the first one. Like
yeah,
it's very rare.
yeah.
So just moving right along, because I know we're not going to go as in depth with this
Hmm.
one as the first one, but this something I noticed is interesting is that we're playing with the idea of like people that are novices can still like make a guess that the expert doesn't expect to be right and ends up being right. The detectives actually mention, like, what if this whole thing was a setup? What if it was, because they're when they say it, they mean that this person was setting up the Saints to take the fall for the murder,
Yeah.
like to draw them out so they can take care of them, which is right technically, but they're also they just say it kind of in passing,
Mm-hmm.
but then you watch the whole movie and you're like, oh wait, they actually like figured it out and they just didn't realize it, that like how much that it was a setup for the Saints and it was also a setup against the Acavetas, and like because it was like bring all of our enemies together and have them kill each other
Mm.
basically.
Yeah.
So it's like a massive setup instead of a
Mm-hmm.
setup just for one objective. It did multiple things.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's kind of cool to think about, that it's like a multiple layered
Mm-hmm.
thing where you're like, it's a funny moment. Their detectives are funny guys. They're just kind of bullshitting, but kind of got it right. They kind of got a dead ringer right
Yeah.
there
Right. Yeah.
without meaning to.
Yeah.
I find that's fun. We do get Doc back, which is cool because they go back to he has I think he has a new pub technically in this one. Like
Yeah. I
yeah,
think
like
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like they go to because he goes in the back and it's like this was a speakeasy in the 40s and I just use it for storage now, and it's like we got ourselves a fucking hideout
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just that was cool to bring him back. Thankfully, they completed them because the guy was older, so
Yeah.
I was like, if they say in the sequel that Doc passed between the two movies, I'm like, I get it because the actors are human. Everybody eventually dies, so
Yeah.
I get it. Like, but I was like, that's cool that they were able to have him in there like
Yeah.
this because this doesn't do a whole lot, but he does just enough. I think just like in the first one,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
where it's like he's just a fun friend character to have, and I don't know how people think about his Tourette's as a character trait because
I don't give a shit.
I'm
Yeah.
like it is
Fuck
funny.
ass.
Yeah, just like that's one thing where I'm like they kind of push it a little bit further in the second one
Yeah.
where it's like Connors is making a joke about it, like more intimate,
Mhm.
more intricate of a joke than he normally would, and I'm like, guys, come go to the next scene,
All right.
please.
Well, we got shit to do. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just like I still think it's funny. It's just like condense it just a little bit
Yeah.
so it doesn't drag.
Yeah.
Not that it really drags much. It's just
Beating a dead horse. Yeah.
yeah. So we haven't talked a whole lot about the villains. It's kind of funny they do a similar thing to the first movie where first half of the movie it's like the Saints kind of do everything right and
Mm.
everything where everything kind of falls into place. I don't know if I like the villains, the first half of the movie, the villains in
Mhm.
this, because the Yakubetas and their people. I'm like, these guys are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like how are they running things? How are they this dysfunctional? And like
Right, because that guy, I totally forgot that was okay, I can't think of the actor's name. I'm trying to think. He was I'm trying to remember who. I remember him from a movie. Give me a second. I'm trying to think.
just to clarify,
Okay, so he was
which
in
character are we
he was
talking about?
in he was in the Breakfast Club.
Okay, Judd Nelson. Yeah,
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 yeah, he
yeah.
was
Yeah,
Bender. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it was funny because I was looking at him and I was staring at him and I was like, "Why does that guy look familiar?" So I looked at his filmography. I was like, "No fucking shit, Bender. That is awesome
Yeah.
that he was in that." I totally forgot he was in that. Yeah,
Yeah, I will say he has an awesome name, Consazio Iacovetta. I was
yeah,
like, that is a cool name, but I'm like, I wish I liked this character more because it's a cool name and I like the actor, but I'm like this guy is a dumbass.
yeah,
He's literally like a nepo baby.
yeah.
I know family is a theme in the mafia where it's like the son will take over for the father after
Hmm.
the father passes or retires, but I'm like, oh man, and even his own men don't like him.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, like it's kind of hard to take this guy seriously, honestly. it's funny when he beats the guy up with the salami,
Yeah.
just just for correcting his grammar.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that was a funny character beat.
Yeah.
That was good. But on the idea of like an incompetent villain but a funny character,
Hmm.
Gorgeous George is really funny in
Yeah.
this where I think he's the only one from Brooklyn if I remember right. He's from Brooklyn instead
Hmm.
of Boston, so everybody treats him like shit because
Hmm.
he's not like a Bostonian
Hmm.
guy, which is funny because it's kind of similar to like Rocco, but in a more
Oh, right. Yeah.
like he is a more of a villain, but he's just like because he's just constantly getting shit on by everybody, even though he's like the head guy of the streets
Hmm.
of the street gang technically side of things, but he's like I get no respect. I'm fucking done with these assholes. I when the Saints give him the option to snitch for him, he's like, I'll do it in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah.
I hate these guys,
Yeah.
so just kill them. I don't care. But I will say that some of the comedy doesn't entirely work with him because it's like too much, like
Yeah.
the speedo and the tanning salon scene, and
Hmm.
although the scene with him and Bloom was funny when he was getting a massage and he's naked on the table and his eyes are closed
Yeah.
and Bloom sneak attacks him with the paddle.
Yeah. He fucking spanks him. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was pretty funny. Then she's like, "You got a pretty nice ass for a fat man."
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's kind of a funny moment. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of a cute moment too.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, nobody respects you, George, but we don't hate you at least. Or it's like,
Right.
but yeah, it's just funny. Have you ever watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No, but I know of the show, but no,
Oh,
I've never.
okay. Well, this his character reminds me a lot of Charlie from that show,
Yeah.
where he's the bitch of the group,
Mhm.
where everybody makes him do the shitty jobs and
Mhm.
everything, and even his voice too is like because in the scene he's like panic room, panic room, because Charlie Day plays that character and
Yeah.
he gets really high pitched when he gets agitated.
Uh-huh.
So I was like that's making him do all the Charlie work
Mhm.
over here. I'm like, oh, I just like characters like that that are.
Mhm.
I mean, I like Charlie because he's just a lovable moron, but he's this guy's a lovable moron even though he's a villain. He's like, and the fact that they actually let him go free at the end, I thought was really cool. It's like
Yeah.
they can play Russian roulette. And he's just like, just like testing it.
Mhm.
They test him basically. They test the one bullet, and then clicks empty. He's like, okay, you're free to go.
Yeah.
It's like because you helped us out and you seem to be an okay human being, even though you're working for the mafia. We're gonna give you one chance at freedom. So
Yeah.
it's like your life is in God's hands now. So it's like
Yeah.
kind of fucked up, but
Yeah.
it's like vigilante justice, so it's all a little fucked up.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, at least that he didn't help them, and then they just shoot him in the fucking head, just like everybody else.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was like, that would have turned me off the Saints a little bit.
Right.
I was like, that's not
Yeah.
right. I know snitches get stitches, but like he got so humiliated by them in this movie. I'm
Yeah.
like,
It was enough. Yeah.
just let him go. Like, yeah, so the first half of the movie, it's like the villains are kind of okay, yeah, at best. Like they're kind of incompetent, more comedic
Mhm.
characters. But then you have the hitman that you kind of forget about in the movie because the hitman is the one who killed the priest in the
Mhm.
beginning,
Yeah.
who's like 5 foot nothing. Like he's really short and he's really insecure about it,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny because he puts on like platform boots that make him
Yeah. He
like
does that scene where he's like looking at himself in the mirror and he's like, I think he's
yeah
going like
yeah
this,
yeah
and he's like, and he's always
yeah
like comparing his to like hand size. You remember like
yeah
when he kills
yeah
the priest and he's like laying next to the body and he realizes his hands are smaller than his and he starts getting
yeah
mad.
yeah. It's like well, this is an interesting character. What's his deal? Well, you don't really learn much about him. He's just an assassin with an inferiority complex, and he's just like he's easily manipulated by the real villain
Hmm.
of the story. He's like, yeah, he's just a mook. just a guy,
Yeah, he's a mook.
yeah, just a guy who is skilled at killing people,
Yeah,
but he's just a thug, is all he is. Like,
yeah,
there's not some deep backstory to him or anything, just an asshole that they have to take out.
yeah.
But it's really interesting. We're like comparing him to the other guys because even though he's like not a super deep, interesting character, he is intimidating despite the fact that he's so small as a person. But he just will peek around a corner because he's like watching them multiple
Hmm.
times in the movie, and you're like, oh, he's like there. He could just whip out his gun and start killing people because he does try to kill them in the peso bar that's
Yeah.
owned by Romeo's uncle.
Hmm.
That after they kill off George's people there, that's when the guy has been watching him the whole time. That's when he like takes shots at him, and then Bloom shows up, backs up the boys in the gunfight, and then that's when he retreats.
Hmm.
And that's when Bloom and the brothers meet, and that's really interesting. I'm your new guardian angel.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like I just think that's so interesting that like both movies explore the idea of vigilantes and a federal agent actually
Hmm.
being on the same side,
Yeah.
which I they don't really explain it. It's one of those ambiguous things where it's like, was she actually with the Saints the whole time, just that they hadn't met in person until this moment? Like, because she was apprenticed to Smecker,
Yeah.
so she obviously has some of his ideologies.
Hmm.
So you're like, I don't know if she is technically like looking out for the Saints the
Hmm.
whole time because like it seems like she's playing it really straight in the first part where she's like, yeah, this kill wasn't them, this kill was definitely them,
Hmm.
or she's not like lying to cover their tracks or anything.
Hmm.
Just until the silver peso scene when
Yeah.
they meet each other, and that's when they falsify evidence and make it look like the mob guys just got into a
Yeah.
fight and killed each
Which
other.
that was a neat scene.
Yeah, even though my logical brain's like they shot each other with different calibers than what they were shot with, but it's fine.
Right.
Just ignore
It's
that.
that whole like when you watch a movie and you see something go on and it kind of makes you mad and you're like, I'm just gonna accept it.
I'm like they can falsify. This is the FBI. They can falsify evidence. They can,
Whoa,
yeah,
whoa,
you
they
know,
would never do anything like that. There's people
that
all
that
the time that suicide themselves with 8 rounds, okay? It happens, okay?
audience, if you see if a laser on either of our heads, please like sound off in the comments, like because this might be our last broadcast.
Right. Uh,
Just kidding, they don't do that. They just fucking kill you.
right.
That's that movie shit. That never happens in
Right,
real
yeah.
life.
See this in bad television.
Yeah. Okay, so then after the silver peso hit, that's when they go to the gun guy again, where
Hmm.
they bring back that character.
Yeah, he
And
actually, I think, had some more actual dialogue in this.
yeah, like the first one, he was like they like give him
Not,
the guns and
yeah,
the money,
knock
and
each
he's
other
you knock yourselves
those
out.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one, he's like more of a real character. He's like, you boys have quite the underground following. You've been doing wonders for our business, you
Yeah.
know. But and he comes in, shows them all the like his place is like he was in like a basement in the first movie,
Mhm.
and then this one it looks like he's in a warehouse or
Mhm.
something. Like he's really like stepped up his game because he's been
Yeah.
making a lot of money because of the Saints, which is kind of funny. But it's just funny. He's like, gentlemen, if I may make a suggestion, just pulls out the fucking Desert Eagle,
Yeah.
ridiculous shit.
Doesn't he find one for the other character, but it's like Mexican style or something like that?
No, Romeo finds that,
Yeah. Okay. Romeo
he
finds
picks
it.
it up because he's got his Mexican pride. So like
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah. And he's
That's
always
funny.
crying. I remember they were always like giving him
Stop!
shit for crying.
Romeo's crying.
Yeah. Yeah. And he finds it, gets all excited.
Yeah. Then, I mean, they to be fair, they do look ridiculous, but I'm like, it's so perfect for Romeo. I'm
Right.
like, it's fine. Just
Yeah.
don't worry about it. Like if I found that exact same pistol but it had red, white, and blue grips, I'd do
Right.
the exact same fucking
Yeah.
thing. I'm like, gold suppressors were a cool idea though. I was like,
Yeah.
that makes no sense. It doesn't need to make sense.
Right.
Just move
That's
on.
that's that's Army of Two right there. Did you ever play Army of Two?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I sucked at that game.
Oh, yeah. It's a tough game.
Yeah. Honestly, these movies kind of feel like Army of Two movies if they were comedies.
Yeah.
So, just like a less serious version
Hmm.
of that. But it is funny. A lot of people, a lot of fans have noticed this in the first movie. The Russians, try to kill them. They have the Desert Eagles, and they're going to execute them
Hmm.
with it. When they kill the Russians, they take their guns to
Oh, right. Yeah.
the gun guy, and they trade them for the Berettas. And then in this movie, when they get the bigger firepower,
Hmm.
they trade in their Berettas and get Desert Eagles.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, that's nice. That's kind of a cool bit of symmetry there.
Sorry, that's our 2 hour mark.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we just hit 1 hour before, and then that's our second hour. So I'm just
Okay.
giving you a heads up.
Cool. See, I didn't even have to tell you to do that. You
Yeah.
just immediately started.
Yeah.
You're a professional.
I'm trying.
Is that camera still going, by the way?
Oh yeah,
Still
still going.
blinking?
Yeah, we're
Cool.
good.
Cool. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Looks like we're okay still so far.
Yeah.
But I will try to move along anyway. I
Yeah.
just wanted to mention the gun thing because I thought that was
Hmm.
really interesting. These movies are kind of made for gun people
Oh
to
yeah.
notice things like
Yeah.
that. So I just thought that was interesting. They go to the Prudential building to do the hit against the Yakovetas, and then there's the scene with Romeo sneaking in with the laundry and has the janitor tied up in the
Yeah.
closet, trying to come up with a catchphrase or a cool line to say. Kind of a stupid joke. I don't like that he keeps cutting between that and the scene with them on the what is that called, the window washer
Yeah.
platform.
Is it a high rise?
I mean, they're on a high rise technically, so
Yeah.
so I think it's just a window washer thing. But like and both things are technically comedic that are happening because
Hmm.
they're like, again, I'm tying myself up with your stupid
Fucking
fucking rope.
rope. Yeah.
It's like probably some dumb shit you saw in a movie, and then and then I think it's Detective Duffy that's with them, or I don't remember which. One of the detectives are there with them, and they're like, Connor, you didn't see this in a movie, right? And he's like, something with Clint Eastwood, and it worked really fucking good for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, never change, Connor, never change.
Yeah.
But it's like, but it is cool that it's like if they don't time this hit exactly right, Romeo's gonna get shot, like because he's gonna come through the door with the laundry
Yeah.
thing and then pull out the pistols and start shooting. But it's like if we don't fall at the exact right time, bust through the window and start shooting to cover Romeo coming through the
Hmm.
door, he's dead. So I was like, that's interesting that they do that. They build that tension there, where it's like this could go horribly, horribly wrong. It doesn't, thankfully, but I was like, but there's just a little bit of tension that I kind of appreciated that, where
Yeah.
it's like Rome's the new guy, he's the replacement. Like, is he expendable? Could they just kill this character like that?
Yeah.
And because people were a lot more attached to Rocco in the first one. They killed him, so they're like, well,
Right.
we don't
Yeah.
know if Romeo is gonna die or not. But that insanity goes off basically without a hitch. Like the only wrinkle they didn't expect was the panic room in the
Yeah.
building, and Consazio tries to get into the panic room, and then the guy who he's been like mocking and making fun of the whole time is one of his underlings, just pushes him out of the way and gets in the panic room and shuts the door.
Yeah.
So Sukatazio gets executed instead of him. I was like, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's a fitting punishment for him.
Yeah.
But it's like it's an inversion of the first movie again, where the Yakoveta mansion hit was like the big thing of
Hmm.
the movie, and this one it is kind of like a false climax too, but it's like,
Yeah.
but everything goes according to
Right.
plan
Yeah.
for
Everything goes good.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's an interesting thing that they do that. They kill off all the heads of the Yakovetas and their main button man were all
Hmm.
there. So put all the fish in the barrel so they could start shooting them.
Yeah.
I gotta say the execution of this stunt is incredible. The fact that like they're jumping off of like they're tied to the window washer
Mhm.
platform, jumping, like rappelling down, kind of like something you'd see Tom Cruise do in Mission
Mhm.
Impossible. It's like they jump down, they swing down, but and shoot through the glass,
Mhm.
bust in there, and then they're like on the tables, dual wielding Desert Eagles,
Mhm.
and all this crazy shit's happening because then Romeo busts in when they don't expect and start blasting, and the fact that they've they're combining the scene of the hit happening and Bloom explaining what happened,
Yeah.
and it shows her like dressed up like OK Corral character because
Yeah.
it's like she says it's a good old fashioned shoot 'em up, and that's like
Yeah.
right when the action starts.
Yeah.
Because that's something that the first movie did too with Smecker. Like when he'd be like showing what they were doing in
Yeah.
each scene, they would cross cut.
Got ourselves a cowboy.
Yeah,
Good shooting, shitty shooting.
yeah. I think that's really creative because normally a movie would be like how they started out, where it's just the aftermath. The detectives find it, they figure out what happened. This one, it's all like together, like
Mhm.
all at the same time. It's a little visually busy. I can understand if that's a complaint because there's so much going on
Mhm.
in that one moment, but it's executed and choreographed so
Mhm.
well that I'm just impressed that they did that. Where
Yeah.
it's had Julie Benz here, the two brothers here, all these guys here getting shot, and then Romeo coming in. And it's like I know they use multiple cameras and like multiple shots in it,
Mhm.
but it's edited in a way where it's not jumping
Mhm.
constantly.
Yeah.
Where it feels really smooth.
Mhm.
So I was like, good on you, Troy Duffy.
Yeah.
That shows that you've like upped your game since the
Yeah.
first one because it's a sequel. You got to go bigger, you got to go louder,
Yeah.
with everything. So I appreciated that. So then you think, okay, so they've killed off the Yakuvetas all except for one guy nobody cares about. It's in the panic room. It's like, what's the plot gonna be then? Well, that's whenever we get the twist that the real villain hasn't really been shown yet. He's been like there's been he's been shown technically like with the hitman
Mhm.
character a couple of times, but never like a face reveal. Like
Mhm.
so you're like there's something more going on here because of the hitman, and then there's somebody who hired him to do all this, and then you're like, but then that's when Bloom interrogates the little guy that doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but it is funny that they play with your expectation because he opens the door and grabs her and then shuts the door, so you think that he's got her in a hostage situation, and then it cuts to what actually happened, and she's got him like on the
Yeah.
ground, completely at her mercy. So
Yeah.
because Greenlee is obviously in love with her, so it's like you could be touching her and shit in there. We can't even see what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, she's got it. She's
She's
good.
got it. She's good.
Yeah, you don't get to be a federal agent without being certified badass,
Yeah.
and at least in you had a special agent in the federal in the
Yeah.
FBI anyway. Like yeah, she's got this. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. But then so everybody's running on a high now. They're like, okay, so we took out the Yakuvetas, we've taken out like everybody that we meant to take out. What's next? The hitman comes in and kills Greenlee with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Just I was like,
Whoa.
it wasn't. Yeah, it was like the execution too was the crazy part because it's
Yeah.
just like such a funny moment. There's bam, just buckshot right through him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, what the hell's going on?
Right. Oh, whoa.
Because I'm like, normally they separate like the comedy and the
Yeah.
action,
Definitely
and
surprised you.
yeah, I was like, and what's funny is like I didn't think I cared that much about Greenlee as a
I
character,
know, but you
and
did right then and
and
there. I did.
then you watch him die, you're like, oh man, that's really sad. There's actually a deleted scene where the other detectives, and Bloom get to the scene and see his body, and they
Mm.
like all three break down crying,
Mm.
which I was like, I see why you cut that, but that does show how their camaraderie that they had
Yeah.
built as a team. So it is a nice moment, but I totally get cutting it,
Yeah.
so it's fine. But like, yes, so motherfucker comes in, kills Greenlee before anything could possibly happen, and then jumps up and grabs Doc and holds him at gunpoint too. And brothers are there. They've got their guns on him,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a Mexican standoff. Basically, you're like, how are they going to get out of this? Again, kind of a theme of divine intervention. Noah shows up,
Yeah.
shoots the gun out of his hand, and then interrogates him in like the most badass way I've ever seen. He pulls out two revolvers, and it's the dual
Mm-hmm.
Russian roulette. They're interrogating each
Mm-hmm.
other, and then the brothers are just freaking out the whole time because they're like if that guy gets lucky, their dad's dead. So,
Yeah.
and they're like, one way or another, you die today.
Yeah.
Because one of them has the shotgun, one of them has the Desert Eagle, and they're both like trained on him. Like
Yeah.
the second anything goes awry, he's dead.
Yeah.
But then, but it is funny that Connor's freaking out about it, and then Noah's like, "Steady, son, Daddy's working."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that's a funny moment,"
Yeah.
and it's kind of a cute family moment too.
Yeah.
But then, because Noah kind of has figured out what's going on, because he's kind of putting it all together. That it's not the Yacovetas that did it. It's not any of the known parties that were behind this.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when they put together, between this and then Bloom interrogating the other guy, they figure out it's the Roman who was the actual villain,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny if you're a Batman fan and you watch this watch this movie. You see the Roman. That's with a nickname for Carmine Falcone
Yeah.
in the Batman
Mm-hmm.
comics. So I was like, just imagine an alternate universe where Falcone like retires to a old mansion with a garden and decides to kill
Yeah.
all of the mafia people in Gotham. So I was like, sorry, that I just had to say that because like I'm sure there are a lot of historical things with the mafia where people that were nicknamed the Roman,
Yeah.
but because it's Rome, Italy, the
Yeah.
Italian mafia. That's not that an unusual name, but I was like, it's a cool sounding name for like a secret mafia character that they're like, okay, so now we kind of get. So the Roman hired this guy to kill the priest, frame the saints possibly for murder, but more importantly, frame the Yakovetas for doing it, so that the saints come back to kill the Yakovetas off.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, this is another like moral thing, or like, wait, so he's not. He used to be with the Yakovetas, but he's not with the Yakovetas anymore because they pushed him out,
Mm-hmm.
and so he didn't have any power anymore technically. But he had resources.
Yeah.
He had knowledge. He knew people that he could count on to carry out his plan.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, oh, this changes everything. And not only that, that now that we've seen the backstory with Noah when he was younger, how he became a vigilante, the fact that it was his former best friend the whole
Yeah.
time
Mm-hmm.
was crazy. Like Louis is the only name that they don't give him a
Yeah.
full name or anything. It's just Louis slash the Roman is what he ended up becoming. So like that's a crazy twist. Like on the same a similar level to Noah being their dad. Just like, oh, this guy is actually the villain, killing off everybody, and he was best friends with your dad.
Yeah.
That your dad, and the fact that Noah technically worked for the mafia back then, killing off rival groups and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and then the brother's stance on going against the mafia, and then their dad joining them. There's a lot going on. So I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
morally and ethically, it's really interesting that they chose to do this instead of just a straight up sequel where it's just the next generation of the Akavetas and they just kill them off in some
Yeah.
kind of spectacular fashion. It's like, oh no, it's the old generation that's actually running things and
Yeah.
figured that out. So that's when we were after the Russian roulette scene happens and we kill off the assassin because he doesn't really talk during it. He just know it is new. Like he figured out who it was. He just needed to like confirm that that's
Mm-hmm.
who he thought it was. But that's when we're entering into the last part of the movie, which is building up to taking out the Roman, figuring out where he is and like how to take him out specifically. And one of the scenes that I've loved, how we talked about speaking in different languages to like code to each other. There's a scene with the Roman in his house when he calls one of his associates on the
Mhm.
phone, and he's preparing a tomato at the time. Like you see, he's got this big thing of tomatoes because he's got the garden,
Mhm.
and he grows tomatoes. And he's like, I'm making marinara, and I seem to have run out of tomatoes. And then and then his associate's like, don't worry, I'm in good supply of tomatoes. And you see like all of his henchmen
Mhm.
behind him. And you're like, oh, I like that. So
Yeah.
if the FBI like tried to figure out things through the phone call, they wouldn't nothing. They wouldn't get any information out of it.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh, okay. So also similar to what John Wick does, where it's like dinner party, dinner reservation for
Mhm.
free,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. I don't know. I just think that stuff is really interesting
Mhm.
because with the criminal underworld, you have to figure out how to speak in code so nothing gets leaked and your enemies don't figure out what's happening. The good get the the cops and everybody doesn't figure out what you're doing.
Mhm.
Just layers on layers of deception. Where I'm like, that's
Yeah.
really interesting. So then, talking about the federal government or the FBI. The FBI has kind of gotten wise to what Bloom is doing. That she's been helping the Saints, and that's whenever they call in Kunstler, and we're not going to say what she calls him because we don't want to we don't want to get taken off YouTube.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I bet it was funny, but I'm like, I'm not repeating that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now she is technically like on the run, like a fugitive too,
Mhm.
like the brothers and their father and Romeo are. So it so now they've kind of been brought down to the same level. So now they have to figure out how to do this hit, and then with Bloom's information that she digs up with the using the FBI's database, that's how they figure out that she's helping them.
Mhm.
Is that they figure out the where the Roman is, and that's when it just builds to like it shows them going to mass and like one last time and
Mhm.
gearing up for battle. And it's cool that Rome gets like earlier in the movie he was complaining because they gave him the little 22
Mhm.
pistol or the little tiny pistol. He's like, I need a gun. He's like, here you go.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. And then he got the upgrades as the
Mhm.
brothers did too. And then he gets a shotgun for the
Yeah.
final shootout. I was
Yeah.
like, that's cool. That because he's the newbie and the guy, they're like, I want to make sure that he's taken care of. Like he can back us up with some good firepower.
Yeah.
And then we get to the Romans' mansion. I will say it's like the way they built it and everything is really interesting. Like, because it's like you can tell it's like a luxury place back in the day,
Mhm.
but it's in total disrepair because it's so old.
Mhm.
He's had it for like 60 years, and probably because he has no more like funding from the Acavetta group, he didn't probably didn't has can't maintain it himself really.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just him, and like the only thing he can make pristine and perfect is his garden. Like
Mhm.
that's why the garden looks so beautiful and everything. Cause it's like clearly that's what he values more than like his actual house.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. Then they get to his house, and then I always try to figure out what this means exactly. But whenever Noah takes his cross off and he puts it on the banister of the staircase
Mhm.
as he's walking through there, I think what it is a code for the brothers to go upstairs, because he's the first one in the house,
Mhm.
because he knows that there's gonna be guys with guns up there to scope out the whole house. So, but then there's some kind of religious thing too, where it's like maybe I think he kind of understands that he's going to die in this
Yeah.
fight, so I don't know, maybe a sign of faith or something, just
Yeah.
a sign for his sons to understand what he wants them to do.
Yeah.
And then we get to the big showdown, which starts out as a conversation between two guys in chairs in a garden,
Yeah.
which is not what you'd expect in a movie this bombastic.
Yeah.
You'd think it'd just be guns blazing like immediately, since it's the end of the movie basically. And then we get to see Louis the Roman all grown up as Peter Fonda, which was like that's I think Troy Duffy mentioned like that was just a huge get that he had no idea he could get Peter Fonda for
Yeah.
it. So I was like, it's really cool that they got to have him for this character, and that they waited so long for the reveal, like who he is, because you don't even like see his face. You just see him like on the phone or like in the
Mhm.
room with the assassin, but you never see his face. So then it was like a big deal. Oh, we got a big actor to play this
Yeah.
character, and really well known. And he has died since the movie came out, sadly. But you know, get a legendary actor to play a really important part,
Yeah.
even though it's not much in the movie. But still, the movie doesn't work without him, basically.
Yeah.
And then I really like the face off between Noah and Louis at the end, where it's just like a war of ideology,
Yeah.
kind of, and you see everybody getting into position, like all of Louis' guys with guns have them trained on Noah, because that's the saint that they can see,
Yeah.
so they're waiting for the signal or whatever to attack, and then the brothers and Romeo sneak up like behind some of them, and then right when the action starts, they take these guys out, and that's
Mhm.
when the fight starts. But it's just really interesting to see the like how like they were like best friends when they were young, and
Yeah.
how much they like contempt they have for each other
Mhm.
in their old age. And the line that kills me is like, oh, it's such a villain line, like such a good line that Peter Fonda says is like after he explains that he killed off the Yakuvetas to clear his way so he could be on top again, because he sold out Noah. Like that's the hit in the '70s where he got arrested and
Mhm.
got a life sentence. Basically, was all so he could do a power grab and
Yeah.
become the head of the mafia. And then so that, but the line that he says after he explains all of that is like all of this that I did to kill off the Yakuvetas, and it's like just a little bit of satisfaction for me in my old age. He says, after all, I've never been a greedy man.
Yeah.
And I was like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, how could you say that sitting in front of the guy that you framed, that you put in a life sentence, that killed all these people for you just to get where you are? And like,
Yeah.
I'm like, perfect villain line, I
Yeah.
think. So I'm like, you're delusional, buddy.
That's right. It's just another Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah. But then the big fight starts, and I don't know if this one is like as crazy as the Prudential hit technically, because they're both insane shootouts.
Yeah.
Like, and since this is the big climax, this is the part where you actually see Noah pull out the vest again.
Mhm.
Instead of just having the targeted hit, with like a couple of people, he's actually like defending himself against all of these mobsters that are
Mhm.
trying to kill him. But probably the best shot, I think, or like the best couple of shots in it, is it's like symbolism where he has the revolvers, and
Mhm.
they're identical revolvers, but they have different grips,
Mhm.
and he runs out of ammo in them, and then he drops them in slow motion. There's the fountain underneath him,
Mhm.
and then you see from the rooftop the two brothers jump off the rooftop, and then as the revolvers are falling, like at the same speed, they crash through the roof and then start shooting.
Yeah.
It's like they're fraternal twins. They are twins, but they look different.
Yeah.
So it's like I was like, that's really cool. I like that symbolism
Yeah.
there, where it's like you put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a cool two guys jump off a roof into a glass ceiling
Yeah.
scene. It's like you actually made that really visually interesting.
Yeah.
So then shoot, 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 fight, fight, fight for like only like 5 minutes. It's crazy how fast the scene actually
Yeah.
is when it happens, even with the slow mo. And then crazy thing happens. Their luck kind of runs out in this fight
Yeah.
because Rome gets shot, he falls down. Murphy gets shot, he falls down. Connor, I think, gets winged in like the leg where he's like limping.
Yeah.
But then Noah gets hit multiple times and he's like on the staircase, like trying to get up, but he
Yeah.
needs his two sons to help him up one last time.
Mhm.
And then after all the henchmen are dead, then Louis is sitting there and he has this record player, like he hits the record player to start playing,
Mhm.
and that's where the action starts, which I think is also really creative because
Yeah.
it's like some of that music is happening during the scene,
Mhm.
but then it's like as they come up to him, he just sits there and he's like, he knows he's dead. He's
Mhm.
not going to try to run or anything. And then Noah says, "I'll see you in a minute, Louis," and then shoots him.
Mhm.
And right when that happens, the record stops playing because the
Yeah.
song ends right there.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's just like really, it's little details like that
Yeah.
that I really like
Yeah.
in movies. And so then they have Noah's death scene, which is beautifully done, and it's also simple. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not a big speech like to his sons as he's dying. He just says, "Look, boys, it's so beautiful," and then just like them holding him as he dies. And oh, and also Romeo's just on the ground over there,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
it's kind of funny to think about
Yeah.
in retrospect. But it's like okay, but it's a family moment, so
Right.
I
Yeah.
get not including him. And then that ends. Oh, it shows he has the like beret hat that
Mhm.
Noah wears, that beret hat. It showed that like right as he dies, it shows the beret hat, and he has the picture of his sons in it. I
Yeah.
was like, man, that hits you right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Hit you right in the feelings.
Yeah, but yeah. So you're like, okay, movie's over. That's where it ends. No, then the brothers start to walk out the front door, and the FBI is right there with
Yeah.
guns pointed at them. You're like, oh, their luck really ran out this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So then the FBI comes in, does the sweep with everything. You're not sure if Rome is alive because you see him get shot. Like he does shoot a guy, but
Mhm.
then it doesn't cut back to him for several minutes. And then you see when the FBI comes through, he raises his hand up, and then they like grab him and
Mhm.
pull him up. So, so then the Saints go to prison.
Yeah.
They go to the Hogue, I think is what they call it. I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's a not a real. I don't think it's a real place.
Mhm.
I think it's kind of a parody of the Hague, because the Hague's like a military prison.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what they're referencing there. So then you're like, oh shit, how is this movie gonna end? Because it's like you thought you were in the
Mhm.
climax like twice now, and it's still going. You're like, wait, what's happening now? And then you get to Agent Bloom. She's in her new identity, her disguise, and she's with the priest who was the priest in Ireland that
Mhm.
that told the boys about the murder in the beginning of the movie. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. He like helps the saints in like not just the saints, but like their allies
Mhm.
too. And he's like giving her her passport and her new identity and everything. And then he's like, they're on the dock and they're going to the boat for her to escape. And then who shows up as one last twist?
Yeah.
But Agent Smecker.
Yeah.
And
Not expecting
you're like,
that.
what?
Yeah.
And I don't know what this is, but maybe I want to hear your thoughts on this. like what is he has this like accent that he's doing in the scene that's different than what he did in the first movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that like part of his disguise or something? Like that he faked his death and like got a new identity
Yeah.
or something?
Could be.
Because he's talking like a southerner a little
Yeah.
bit. I was like, that's a weird decision, but I'm like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna complain. Willem Dafoe's back in the movie.
Right.
I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah.
But then he explains to Bloom why he chose her, and because he needed someone that he could trust and that the boys trusted and
Yeah.
had helped them out. Like, you passed the test. I
Yeah.
want that I put before you. Now you're gonna help me with the next mission. And then big sequel tease. They're gonna break the boys out of prison.
Yeah.
And then shows the boys in the infirmary in the prison. Technically, Rome's on life support. I think he'll probably be in the third one. Like, I think they were like it showed that he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
So it's like so he didn't bleed out from his injuries. So he's okay. He's just in worse shape than the brothers.
Yeah.
But then the brothers look out the window, like through the bars, and you see all these criminals down in the yard staring at them, like the second you get out of the infirmary, we're gonna jump you, like,
Yeah.
kill you for killing all the criminals that they
Mhm.
did. But it's really interesting. You see on the outside of the prison, you see people protesting, saying "set them free."
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, again with the morality thing, you're like, oh, it's interesting because it's like, because we've been with on the Saints side, but then they are criminals. They got caught. They got put in prison. I get it. Like, that's the lawful thing to do. But then all the people showing that they've kind of won the hearts and minds of people.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh, okay. So we're doing that. So it's like if these two former FBI agents work with they don't say it specifically. They say they're working with the biggest organization in the world to get the brothers out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are they talking about the Vatican? Like,
Yeah. Maybe.
I'm like, I mean, he points to the priest whenever he says that.
Yeah.
I'm like, are they seriously saying that the Vatican's gonna break them out of a federal prison?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a wild idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's too wild. They're good about keeping things secret and moving people, so I could see them.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it right there.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to move them.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I definitely see why the Catholic Church doesn't like these movies.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder why. That's quite the poke. Yeah.
Yeah. But then, yeah, big sequel tease. It's like, we need to get those boys out of there because they're in danger. They're not safe in there. It's like, I don't know. I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Shows the brothers like point fake guns at them.
Yeah.
And then got the credits.
Yeah.
Boom. What time are we at now? Like, how long have we been going?
So this would be like 2 hours and close to 30 minutes.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Alright. I think we didn't do too bad. I thought this would be fucking 4 hours and be a nightmare to edit.
Yeah, still 2 hours and 30 minutes is still long.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So I promised that we weren't going to go in depth on the second movie. Turns out we went in depth on the second movie, huh? So we got to the second movie now, and I had some questions that I came up with to, just for us to think about, for us to talk it out with it. So we're gonna try to make this segment short, mercifully,
Yeah.
hopefully. But we're gonna open it up to the audience and to some feedback I got from one of my internet communities that are fans of Boondock Saints. So I thought, let's include them, because Troy Duffy, when he made the first movie, he had the audience in mind. He made like real reactions to what happened in the
Yeah.
movie at the end of the movie. So I'm like, sure, why don't we do that? So I got 6 questions here, so we'll just go through them as fast as we can. Do you think these films are actually good? I know with the first one you have a better
Yeah.
memory, but the second movie, what you remember and what I've told you about.
I think it's okay. I really didn't think it was really worth watching again. And I mean, my biggest problem is I really just didn't have time to watch it. So So that was really my biggest problem.
Yeah.
I pretty much don't have time to do two movies off in an episode. Like I barely even have time to do one.
Yeah,
Um,
I could have given you more time. To be fair,
it's
I
okay.
didn't think of this
Yeah,
until like a week ago. So
yeah. So like, because I'm a father and I work like 5/12s in a row, Monday through Friday. Like my time for things is very little.
yeah.
But yeah, like the second one was just I just considered it like okay. I didn't really think it was really worth because I think I saw it. Well, I know I own it, but I know I watched it like once or twice, and I was like, eh. Like I consider it okay. I wouldn't consider it bad, but I wouldn't consider it like really good. Like I'm just kind of in the middle with it. Like I'm like, it's all right.
Hmm. Yeah, overall, I do recommend them. Specific, mainly the first one.
Yeah,
Just like I think your people's mileage is going to vary depending on
yeah,
what they think of the first one. If they really respond well to the first one, they really like it. If you're curious, check out the second
yeah,
one.
right,
Just to
yeah,
because I'm like because it's a distinct flavor of a film.
yeah,
They're a little bit different than what you see normally. So it's like and it's not they're not films I would put on any day of the week and watch. I have to be in like the right mood to watch them.
yeah,
Even though I am a fan of them. It's just like you don't want to watch that certain movies every day, you know.
yeah,
I don't think I want to watch any movie every day of the week,
yeah.
but yeah, I know that there's been a lot of pushback against the Saints in the last 10 years or so, like reevaluating the
Mhm,
movies and if they're actually good. A lot of people call them derivative of like stuff from the same era, where
mhm.
it's a lot like Tarantino, it's a bit like Robert Rodriguez, a little bit like Kevin Smith, like I was saying. Where I'm like, yeah, that's fine, but like you got to remember that they came out the same era as those movies that you're talking
Yeah.
about, where and like Tarantino and for instance, he spoofs and homages everything that he likes
Yeah.
in his movies. Like
Yeah, I
it's
wouldn't
like
really consider one and two very original. Like I'm somebody that's very like I'm very picky on things, and I really consider like one like even one and two to both be pretty original. Now like I'm sure there's probably some moments where like the director felt inspired by other things,
yeah,
but by no means do I feel like he really like stole an idea.
yeah,
And I'd call him out on that. I'd be like, I don't think that's right. I don't believe he should have done that. But I
yeah,
feel like one and two, like I think they're both like pretty. I mean, of course, I favor the first one more, but like I think it's very original. Like I have a lot
yeah.
of respect for the first film. I mean, I still think the second one's good, but I'm just saying, like I really feel like it was original. Like I don't feel like he stole a bunch of ideas and like changed it. Like
Yeah,
I feel like it's very genuine and original.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like a lot of great films are derivative of things that come
yeah,
before them. So that isn't really a knock against it, I don't think. Where
yeah.
it's just like yeah, everybody's inspired by something,
Right.
and
Yeah,
we just put our inspiration into our art. It's
yeah.
not a big deal. Like I think we're in the overly analytical age where it's just like you gotta parse everything.
Mhm.
I'm like you can have criticism, yeah, but I think people just go too far with it now because
Yeah.
it's like they just try to overthink everything. And I'm the king of overthinking things, so I know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
It's like I think you guys are taking it a little too far. But yeah, so first one down. Second one is kind of similar, but I'm just thinking about it in modern, with modern scrutiny, do they still hold up to other things? Like we mentioned being a bit derivative, which is not a crime or anything, but it's just like when I'm in a modern context, I kind of see that they're similar to a lot of things, but
Mhm.
that's not necessarily a bad thing. And honestly, like watching them this week, whenever I was making my notes for this, I'm like, I forgot like how much I admired stuff in these movies,
Right. Yeah.
and I'm like, I like that it feels like compared to stuff that's come out since then, it feels remarkably different than
Yeah.
because it's like a throwback,
Yeah.
old like a '90s film and then a 2000s film. There's like I kind of miss this feeling of movies that they just feel different than like a lot of things that have come
Yeah.
out since then from the writing, the execution, just everything feels very much its own thing, despite the fact that it's got similarities to certain things. So I'm
Yeah.
like it does feel like its own idea, or the unique mixture of the the vigilantism and the Catholic beliefs and
Mhm.
the like what's the morally right thing to do in this situation that maybe we don't know, maybe the audience doesn't know, but we're just gonna make them think for a second. Like
Yeah.
that's something I like too. Just a movie that makes you kind of question your own beliefs. Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's because I mean, we're neither one of us are Catholic, but like we are Christian,
Right. Right. Yeah.
so we're under the same really big umbrella, but we're just a different part of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're yeah, there's a million different differences between us and Catholics, but it's like
Yeah.
but the morality isn't so Catholic that it's like alienating. It's just
Yeah.
like if you have a faith or not, it's like you understand the moral argument that the
Yeah.
movie's making.
Yeah.
Even though I think it does favor one side a little too much, if I'm being really analytical.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's a movie. It's just
Yeah.
like you have to make a choice with a narrative, where like which how you're gonna present it.
Yeah.
Where it's just like you can't make the main characters like the villains. Like you can't vilify them too much. I don't think because you have to root for them on some level.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we know that Boondock Saints 3 is happening because I mean because it's been in development forever since the
Yeah.
second one came out, and we know because they had a cliffhanger, like obviously they're gonna make another one.
Yeah.
Is it like in your opinion, should they make a third one? Like if it was up to you, would you say yes or no?
I mean, I really wouldn't wait. Like, I wouldn't really waste my time on it, honestly. Like, I think now, if you would have knocked these off like one, two, three quickly,
Mm-hmm.
then I could have understand like how it would have worked. But now I feel like it's just too late to do one. Now, would I watch it? Yeah. Do I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
waste of time? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I appreciate your honesty. Like,
Yeah.
or we can like kind of put our fandom aside for a second that it's been forever
Yeah. Like,
since the last
I
one
think it's
came
just
out.
been too long. Like, I
Yeah,
just I
I feel
yeah.
I mean, obviously day one I'm gonna see this one whenever they release it,
Yeah.
but I'm like, it would have been really cool if they released it at in 2019, exactly 10 years after the second one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. It'd be like you take a good long break between movies, but it's still like consistent, where it's like
Yeah.
boom, 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 But
Yeah, see, my thing is, it's like if you're gonna knock off like more than one, two, three, like be quick with it, like have it where these actors are young, get them in and out, and get
mhm,
it done, and then get it out. Like
yeah,
I see nothing wrong. Like I get what you mean about like uh, having that rest there, but it
mhm,
gets to a point where like other actors they start getting busy with other stuff. They don't want to come back for a sequel, so they fill it with another actor, and then it's not as good because it's replaced with another actor.
mhm,
Like there's things that happen now. If like this third one, if the two main guys eventually want to come back, like cool if they want to
mhm,
come back and do it. It would be really like the movie would not be watchable if they had replaced one of the brothers
yeah,
with a different like it will not be successful. Like I
yeah.
just it won't work.
Yeah, and I will say if let's say they pussyfoot around too much and they don't and like one of the actors died, then no, it's not happening.
Yeah,
Don't do it because
yeah,
it's like one, you can't replace either one of them. Two, their dynamic is like what makes the film interesting.
right,
So it's
yeah,
like with the what the one piece missing, why are we making this?
yeah.
Like that's so I'm like, please hurry up. Please don't wait till they're in their 60s.
Yeah, I think by the time they finally do it, like I don't think anybody's really gonna give a shit. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion.
Unless they want a throwback style movie. If the movie is a throwback in style to stuff that from earlier,
Yeah,
modern action films that have all kind of become Diet John Wick,
yeah,
that a movie like this would feel very different in a modern
yeah,
context. So it might actually be a good success. If it
yeah.
does if it's like a vintage movie, but it's in a modern release. Like
Yeah,
that,
like I'm fine with the like I like the movements and the way that the guns are used in John Wick. So I find that interesting. It's just when they're like kind of copy and pasting the story. So
Yeah.
like I'm fine with the gun kung fu aspect.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the story of the same thing. Like honestly I was fine with nobody.
No,
Like
nobody's different enough.
I was
To
just like
yeah, it just
I'm there to watch it. Like I think it's really enjoyable.
and,
You
and
know, didn't really care that if it was really in the universe, if it was or wasn't. Like I enjoyed it. I was like, I actually really like Nobody. It's
and,
just other movies that are, you can tell they're trying to be John Wick without saying they're John Wick, and I'm like,
and
yeah, this is John Wick.
yeah, and then and movies like the Equalizer series. I really like them, and they're different than John Wick.
Right.
Even though it's a really similar setup, it's
Yeah.
just the execution's totally different.
Yeah.
Like so, I'm just saying that the John Wick of it all is kind of bled into everything. So it's kind
Yeah.
of
Well, and it's something that people saw that made a lot of money, so they're like, oh, use it
yeah,
because it made money.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So moving right along, since we pretty much know another film is happening, is there something that you like want to happen? Some maybe a plot idea, maybe just
I'd
a
be
certain
fine
thing.
seeing the two brothers die at the end. Like I think a good a good send off, like kill them at the end, like have a good like heroic death, like maybe have them sacrifice themselves to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe characters can like tell their story and their legend type of thing. That'd be a good way to just end it.
Yeah.
Kind of like I mean, because there it's rare in cinema nowadays do we see like because I don't really see it much. It's rare do you see like a lot of like heroism where a character has to sacrifice themselves to literally to die
Mm-hmm.
to so their legend is told. And
Yeah.
it's like it's I don't know what's up with Hollywood the way they tell stories now. It's like I'm fine with the hero winning, but I feel like you can get more invested. It kind of makes you mad, but you find a lot more interest in it when you see a hero like actually give their life
Mm-hmm.
to save the day, and you really
Yeah.
just don't see that anymore. That was
Yeah.
something you saw in older movies. Like it's not. I don't see it in cinema anymore, and that's something that's sad to see
Mm-hmm.
in in today's cinema that you just don't really see. Like I'm fine with a hero always coming out on top. Like I
Mm-hmm.
get it, they're the hero, but some heroes have to give their life.
And
You know?
if you're gonna end the story killing off the character, kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Kind of.
ending a story. What a
Yeah.
foreign concept nowadays.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just take a punch at something real quick. So like I Am Legend,
Mm-hmm.
solid movie, gives his life at the end. That's why he is legend. And so now they want to make a
Psych.
yeah. So now they want to make another movie off of the alternate ending that most people like because I kind of talk with other people at work about movies and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't." Most people don't even know there's an alternate ending.
I
Now I
know.
saw the alternate ending I bought it on DVD, watched it, and I was like, "Oh, really good movie." And I was like, "Alternate ending," and I didn't like the alternate ending. I liked more that Will Smith sacrificed himself,
Mm-hmm.
finding out that he is the cure, and that's what makes him the legend.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess I was fine
Yeah.
with the whole interaction with him and the creature, and gives the
Yeah.
girl back, and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
find some respect for each other. Fucking bullshit, whatever.
Yeah.
Moves on.
Mm-hmm.
So just to throw a quick punch at that, like I like that he gave his life. That's how he was the legend, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I would like to see in this next Boondock Saints movie. Is just have him die at the end,
Yeah.
because then the series is over.
Yeah.
But that is gonna happen. It's gonna be like Senior Saints.
You tell me this, senior freaking citizens.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think it's gonna get to the point like I don't think they're gonna like end their story. Like it's either going to be a third one. They're either gonna die or like it's just
Yeah.
gonna be another cliffhanger. Like it's just like I'm at that point where
Fuck me if it's another cliffhanger. I'm done.
right. Like I'm at that point where I'm like you need to end something. So,
Yeah.
so let's end it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did I've been watching Troy Duffy in some like recent interviews that he's done because Boondock Saints 25th anniversary happened last
Mm-hmm.
year, I was lucky enough to actually go to. They had a screening in Springfield,
Oh,
so
awesome.
I was
Yeah.
actually able to see it with a crowd, which
Yeah.
was really
Oh, that would have
funny.
been cool.
Yeah, but I was like, that was like a 1 in a million chance that
Hmm.
I got to see that. I was like, that's really cool. But then the interview, like one of the things he mentioned in like an idea he had for the third movie, and I think it's an interesting idea, is that after whatever happens, that they get out of prison, that they actually have a question. They have to question themselves, like their own beliefs at this point. So much has happened in their life, and
Yeah.
it's like they lost their friend, they lost their dad, they're fugitives from the law. It's like, do we still want to continue doing this? Like a crisis of faith type thing.
Yeah.
And I think that would, because I like, that's one thing that I wish was explored a little bit more, was the characters of the two leads, you know,
Yeah.
which I understand that they're not the deepest characters ever, but like just to humanize them a little bit, where it's like every person that has faith, really, like they have crises of faith in their life,
Okay.
where
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, can I still be doing this? Is it has my conviction changed? Is it, do I want to do something different, but
Yeah.
with the same end goal but a different method? You
Yeah.
know, like, I just think that would be really interesting if the two brothers kind of have a conflict where they're like, I don't know which way I want to do this. One of them wants to keep doing things the way they always have. One of them says maybe there's a different way of doing it, which, you know, I'm not expecting that to happen really, but it's just something that Troy Duffy mentioned. I will say he's not actually directing the third one. He just helped develop the story ideas that
Hmm.
they have. So don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Well, it remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know,
I don't think
that
I'd be against that, honestly. Like,
yeah,
I don't think I'd
yeah,
really care.
yeah. It's just like, if it's like the movie's good, cool.
Yeah,
That doesn't matter.
right.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I mean,
Like,
it might be better
just
with somebody else.
yeah. I'm just yeah. Like I just think a little bit of character depth is not a bad idea for the third one, like the final chapter of their lives. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, people as they get older, they change their opinions and the ways they want to live, and this, I don't know. I think there's something they could do a lot with that. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so just trying to think if we've covered we've covered this before. What we've said, like we're going over with like what makes these films unique
Hmm.
to thing. I think between the way they were executed and the way they're kind of unconventional with the way they do a lot of the stuff. I think that kind of covers it. Do you have anything extra you want to say about like what makes them unique to you? Or
Mm, I can't really think of anything like much else to say. Yeah. Yeah, I think like I would just let the first one speak for itself.
mm-hmm,
Like the second one's kind of like I don't think you have to watch it.
mm-hmm,
You know, I think there's moments like when you watch one movie, you're like, oh, I gotta watch the second one. Like it's just as good. Like I think you
mm-hmm.
could watch the first one and just leave it there and not have to. But yeah, no, I can't think of anything. No.
Gotcha. Well, let's end on this. The last question I have is: would you recommend the films to your average viewer?
Yeah.
You know, people who watch this, or you know, just anybody you meet on the street. Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I think the first one's really good. I mean, I think it's fan freaking tastic. Like I would
Mm-hmm.
rate it as that. The second one, I'm like, But I mean, like nowadays, I guess it depends. There's a lot of people out there that are too sensitive and would probably think the first movie's too offensive.
Yeah,
So
I
it would
will.
really have to
Mm-hmm.
depend on the person. Like
Yeah.
if they're just not out of like crazy out of their
Mm-hmm.
mind, I think you could sit there and really enjoy both
Mm-hmm.
movies. But there's a lot of moments in both too that I think an audience nowadays couldn't sit there and watch it and not try to be offended about something, even though
Yeah.
it's cinema and it's there for you to be
Yeah.
like, cause like when the thing that I have always liked about movies, um, growing up is like when you're there to watch a movie, you're there to be taken out of reality and put in a world
Mm-hmm.
that you're not from, and that's the thing. Like what because that really rarely ever happens in cinema nowadays, where you can be taken out of something and put in something else, and I love that. And it just is. I think probably like if you're a calm person and you could sit there and enjoy something. I think a lot of people could enjoy it, but there's a good portion of people that I know that couldn't enjoy this movie. So I would definitely suggest it'd be a movie for people to watch for sure. Like I would recommend both.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's yeah. I do overall recommend both of them. I do think I'm probably more positive on the second than you are, but that's
Yeah.
but it's flawed. That's flawed.
Yeah.
I totally understand that it's flawed, and I get that some of the bands don't really like it, and that's fine. But we also have a discussion. We can have a
Yeah.
discussion about things like that, or that's something fun about the movies is they're fun to talk about,
Right.
fun to introduce a new person to it because these movies are fucking insane at times.
Right. Yeah.
Like you see shit in it that you would never see in another movie. You're like, what? Like first movie's kind of mind blowing first time you see it.
I mean, yeah.
You're like,
Dude, when I rewatched it again a few days ago, like I watched it, I think last Sunday night. Like I really forgot like how good the movie was. I was like, wow, like I forgot how good this was because I've seen it more than once.
Yeah.
It'd been a handful of years since I watched it, and I was like, I forgot how good the first one was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I think I will say it's an acquired taste, if anything. Like the movies, they're not for everybody, and they know that they rated it R, so they know it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
The Some of the humor is offensive, so what? This is like it's a movie. It's R rated. It's a comedy. It doesn't have to appeal to our our real world expectation and all. It's like and that's fine. It's just a fun set of movies. So everybody watch the first one. That'll tell you if you want to watch the second one. Basically, if you like the first one, you'll at least give the second one a shot.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, you may not like it, but you probably will like the first one at least if you go in with an open mind. I think, or mainly if you like look at the technical aspects of things, because like the moral stuff and the storytelling is interesting too, but just look even if you're not interested in that part, like at least watch it for the filmmaking, like how tightly it's written, how well it's directed and edited. Yeah, I recommend it as a good film at least to watch it to like get an interesting 2 hours out of your life,
Yeah.
just something you don't see anywhere else. So that's I mean But we want to know what you guys think about these films. I know they have quite the underground following, so I want to hear all your takes, all your hot takes about the Boondock Saints. Do they hold up? Are they overrated? Are they underrated? Like what do you guys think? Because I want this to be like a community coming together because we're in a cult film fandom, so let's be a cult film fandom. Let's discuss it. Let's have a good time in the comments and try to be civil, for once. My audience has been pretty good so far, but I know what some of them are like, so I'm like, guys, just please keep it civil. That's all I'm gonna say. But thank you so much for spending however long this is, like 3 hours probably.
Yeah, we're getting close.
But we want to wrap this up before it gets any later. Uh, but happy St. Patrick's Day from us, and happy All Saints Day, or whatever whatever you want to celebrate. We're all Irish tonight, so
the Saints are coming.
The Saints are coming.
That's all I remember of the song.
It's okay. The rest of it's kind of gibberish.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see you next time, and probably won't be anything this big, but this has been building up for 3 years, so so fuck it. Let's do it.
Right.
Let's do a long video. But happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Hope you enjoy responsibly out there. All right.
Cut.
We're good.
astonishing display of vigilantism during the Yakavetta trial yesterday, the largest manhunt in recent memory is being undertaken to capture 3 men the media have dubbed the Saints. This reporter went out to the street to find out what you thought about these 3.
Somebody can just go out, get a gun, and shoot somebody because they feel that they're doing some good in the world?
No comment.
Making the world a safer place.
Are you kidding?
They're killing for good, and they're only killing the people who kill.
Killing for good? Listen to yourself.
This is going to create something so much worse.
I don't think so at all.
Well, I think you're just naive then.
I love the Saints, man. They're doing a great job. Keep it going, man. Get these murderers off the streets.
They're not out there just killing for fame. They just want to be famous.
They should be in every major city.
Every major city.
These guys are playing God. I mean, this whole religious twist. Who the hell do they think they are?
Hell yeah, I believe in capital punishment. If they let me, I'd pull the switch.
Get them all. Kill them all.
Oh, I'm all for it. Them motherfuckers. The more people they kill, the better it is for everybody. That's exactly what they get.
No, do not do that, LaQuelle, because you don't even know.
Sign me up, man.
Sign me up, all right?
Where can I sign up?
Who are they to be judge and jury?
No, because what if your mom say no?
No comment.
No comment.
I'm afraid for myself. I'm afraid for my kids. I'm afraid to walk down the street.
I can't even believe you're saying that. That's crazy.
I can't believe. When did you turn into such a sissy? I think they just get off on killing people.
Oh, I have no comment. No comment on that, dear. I have nothing to say, thanks.
All this hoopla with the media, you guys are making it worse right now.
You're giving them the power. By sticking that microphone in my face, you're giving the Saints more power.
I don't want to talk about it.
I really don't want to talk about that.
You walk into some kid's bedroom and it's gonna be there. You have Batman, Superman, and in these Saints.
Are you losing any sleep, honey? Because you know what? I'm certainly not.
No comment.
No, man.
Damn good.
No, don't talk
You're
to that.
right.
No, man.
You're right.
Come on,
You're
man.
right.
I'm ready to my on, okay? I'm ready to get busy, too. You know, I'm ready to get busy.
Ow. Oh, fuck, my tailbone hurts.